Spring is in the air. Well, at least we want it to be. Hey Bestie, this is Lisa. Welcome or welcome back. I've got 70 plus crafts to inspire you for spring. It's the 2023 farmhouse calendar, and we're going to use the Our Happy Place page. I love this one. It's so pretty. And then we're going to take a pizza pan from the Dollar Tree. We're going to cut out a circle, and then we're going to take some Mod Podge, and we're just going to place it all over the inside of the pizza pan. Once we have that applied, we will take our circular piece of the calendar and we'll place it down and smooth it out. And then I'm going to get my brayer and just go over the whole thing and just really try to get that very flat and securely adhered to the pizza pan. Now, a trick that you can do is use a little spray bottle with water and get your paper wet. I didn't choose to do that, but you absolutely can, and I've heard that it helps with the wrinkles even more. Then I'm going to put some Mod Podge over the top just to seal the whole thing in. I like to do that. That way, no matter what, it will stay in place and it will protect it. I've got a little metal piece from a clothespin and a piece of twine. I'm going to put a little hot glue on the end and kind of like pull it off and make a point. And then I'm going to thread it through the little like spirally part of the clothespin metal piece. We're going to use this as our hanger. This is something that a sweet viewer's husband came up with, and I've been doing it ever since. I think it's such a great idea. I'm just going to put some hot glue, secure it, and once that dries, I would just put the two pieces on the other end of the jute and secure it down with some more hot glue. And there we go. We've got a perfect little hanger. I've got these beautiful greenery picks that I get off Amazon. I'm just going to cut them into little pieces using my nippers, and then I'm going to position them all the way around the pizza pan. So basically, this is like turning into a wreath, like you saw in the very beginning. I'm going to use hot glue, and I'm going to make them go all the same direction. That way the little stem pieces hide under the greenery parts. And I will do that until I get all the way around the entire pizza pan. There we go. Now I've got these vendor picks that I don't know if Dollar Tree still has them. I ordered them a long time ago. I got a case of them. I love them. I love these florals. They're so pretty with the purples and the yellows. I'm just going to cut off little pieces, kind of just put them wherever it looks like there's a little gap, just kind of randomly, you know, just whatever I think looks good. You don't have to do this a certain way. Just do it to your own personal taste. Then I've got these other beautiful flowers from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut off some little bunches and hot glue them to the top and kind of make a little centerpiece right at the top. This is so easy. You just take some hot glue, kind of stick them in there until they're exactly the way you want. I just kind of play around with them just a little bit, and that's it. This one is done. I think it's gorgeous. It's so perfect for spring. It's getting me in the mood for spring. We've had some pretty cold weather. I think everybody has. Anyway, let me know if you are ready for the nice spring weather. The Today is a Good Day calendar, and then we're going to use the page that says today is a good day for a good day. I love that one. I love the colors on this one too. They're so bright and cheery. I'm also going to use that piece of cardboard that comes with the calendar. And then I have these two paint stir sticks. They are from Amazon. That's why they don't have the little squiggly end on them. I'm going to use my paper cutter and just cut down the calendar till it fits the size that I want it to be. And then once I have that situated, I will take the cardboard and cut it as well to match the size of the calendar piece. So I'm going to trace it on there, and then I can use the paper cutter and also cut the cardboard. You can make this any size that you want. Now that I have the piece cut, I'm going to put some Mod Podge just on the top. I'm going to start with a small section and adhere the calendar page to the very top of it. I will take my brayer and rub that over the top to make sure it's nice and attached. And then I'll start working my way down with the Mod Podge and the brayer until I have the entire thing attached. And then I'll just trim off if there's any little pieces of the cardboard showing. I'm going to take the paint stir sticks and position them on there. I'm going to make this look almost like a little banner. So I'm just going to draw a couple lines where I want the ends to be cut off. I'm going to use my miter shears from Amazon. Makes it very easy to cut through very thin things like this. And then I'll just cut the other one according to the size of the first one that I cut. I'm going to sand the edges so that they're not too sharp. Then I'm going to take hot glue and I'm going to attach the bottom and the top pieces to the calendar page. And that gives us that cute little kind of banner look. I love this. I'm going to take some Mod Podge and go over the calendar page. I decided to leave the wood in its natural color. I'm going to take this little metal piece from a clothespin and a piece of very thin twine, thread it through the coily part. I'm going to use that as a hanger on the back by just hot gluing it on there and then securing the remaining jute down. Very easy and a very secure way to make a hanger. I'm going to take some greenery from Amazon and just kind of snip off some pieces and make like a little swag at the bottom. I will tie it with some jute so it's nice and secure, and that also gives us something to glue it down with where the jute is. So I'll just do that. I'll put some hot glue right on the bottom there. You can put this on the bottom or the top. I just decided to do the bottom. Then I've got a beautiful flower here. I think it's a rose from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to take it apart and put the leaves on first, snip off those little ends, and then put the rose right in the center. And the colors go perfectly with this calendar page, and it's just so beautiful. It's going to be so nice in the spring. I love it. You'll have to let me know what you think. This one was so easy, and look how beautiful that is. Now you do see a little bit of the cardboard lines, but I don't mind at all. It's very cute. Let me know what you think. Gift bag hack. I've got this gorgeous floral gift bag, and then I've got this cathedral window, and then this little plaque from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to take that piece off the top, use my heat tool to get off the glue that's on there, and my little scraper tool. There you go. Now I'm going to cut the bag big enough to cover this little wood plaque. I'm going to use some Mod Podge. Just spread it on there. I'll do it in sections and then apply the piece of the gift bag. I will use my brayer to make sure that it is adhered perfectly to the surface, and then I'll do the rest. Now I'm just going to trim off the excess. I'm also going to go in a little bit deeper with a sanding sponge and go around the sides and make sure that it's a nice clean edge. Now that that's complete and you can see the beautiful edges, I'm going to place the cathedral window on top and see exactly where I need to add the glue on the back side. So I'm just going to take the hot glue, put it on those spots that I know are going to make really good contact with the little plaque. Now once the glue's on there, I'm just going to place it face down on the back. And I love this because what you see through is the beautiful florals from the gift bag. Now I'm going to take some greenery. I'm just going to make like a little swag and put two pieces, one on each side. And then I'm going to add some little leaves in the middle just to cover up those stems. And the last thing I do is just take this beautiful flower. It was from a pick from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to glue down the little leaf part first and then put the flower right in the middle. This turned out so beautiful, so easy, and it already has a hanger on the back, so that sure does make this easy to deal with. I love this one. You'll have to let me know what you think. It might be my favorite from today, and let me know if it's yours too.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you. Every soul, every season lives outside of...
For this Dollar Tree gift bag hack, I've got another beautiful floral gift bag, and then I've got this truck sign that was from the fall. I'm just going to sand off the glitter and any spots that were a little rough. I'm going to take my agave chalk paint from Waverly and also my ink chalk paint from Waverly. I'm going to paint the body of the truck with the agave. I'm going to paint the wheels in the black, and then I'm going to take this Amy Howard one-step paint. It's like an off-white color, and I'm just going to do the bumper first in the white and around the edges, and then I'm going to take, after that, a silver folk art paint to make it look like it's the chrome, on a regular bumper. If I had just done it over the agave, it wouldn't show as silvery, and I wanted to make sure it did. I've got a jot marker from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to kind of outline the parts of the truck to give it a little more definition. And if you're not sure how to do this, you can always look at a picture. You can find them easily on Pinterest or online, and you can see how to draw those lines. That's how I learned how to do it. I'm not really a car person, so I wouldn't have known otherwise. So I'm just going to continue to do that until I get a nice shape and kind of dimension of the body of the truck. And this is from the back side because it's like the bed of the truck that we're looking at here. Now I'm going to take the gift bag and I'm going to cut out a piece that has, some of the florals that I want. And then I'm going to kind of fussy cut out some of the flowers, just different colors, the way I like them. You can do this any way that you want. And I started off using a glue stick. That wasn't really the best choice on this one. So you'll see I end up adding in some Mod Podge. And then I use my brayer to flatten that. And there's that Mod Podge. I had ends popping up and I just decided going forward I would just use Mod Podge. And then I'm going to cut some more flowers and add them on so it looks like the truck has a bunch of fresh flowers in the bed. And I'll just dry that with my heat tool. I'm going to spray the surface with my matte finish clear glaze, and then I'm going to add a beautiful pink hanger. I've got my greenery from Amazon that I get. It's always in my Amazon store if you would like to get it too. Let me know what you think. It's so fresh and spring-like. Just makes me happy, and I love that agave. It's probably my favorite Waverly chalk paint color that they have. And I'm just going to create like a swag on the bottom, and then I'm just going to add some leaves in the middle to cover those little stems, which is something I often do. And I think this one turned out so beautiful. It was really easy too. Be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments. Gift bag hack. I've got this gorgeous gift bag. They had so many beautiful ones, and this MDF home sign with a heart at the end. I'm just going to cut out a piece big enough to go over the top of the home sign. We're going to use some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to lay it over the entire top of this piece of wood. And then I'm going to place that piece of the gift bag over the top, roll it with my brayer to secure it. And what I probably should have done first was paint the other edges and the back, but oh well, I thought about it afterwards. So I'm going to trim off some of the edges. Then I'm going to use that Amy Howard off-white paint, and I'm just going to paint the back, the sides, and those inside pieces because I want this to look more finished. I'm not fond of the MDF, coloring. I'm sure most of us aren't. So there I go. I'm just going to paint the whole thing. So there it is, all dry. And now what I need to do is cut off the excess of the gift bag. I'm just going to use like an X-Acto knife blade and go all the way around. Now I've got the holes to deal with. So the easiest way to do that is just to kind of poke from the front very carefully and use that X-Acto knife and just cut inside of them. And that works out the very best. Do that to each of the holes. Now to get rid of any of the rough edges, I'm just going to take a little nail file and go around all of the outside and the inside of the holes. And then I'm going to take some Mod Podge and put it all over the top and inside the edges, and that helps anything that's kind of rough, lay down. And I know this is a busy pattern, so you can't read the word as easily, but I just thought it was so pretty. So I decided to take this piece of fern from Walmart, cut it off, from the larger piece that it is, and glue the home sign right on top of it. And I just thought that was pretty to add some greenery. This is totally optional. You don't have to do this. You could use any color gift bag you want if you want to be able to read the word a little better. I just kind of like it, and I think it would look pretty hanging in the inside of a wreath even, or even just by itself. It's totally your own personal taste. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I know sometimes people say, I wouldn't do that, or I would do this, and that's great. This is simply for inspiration. I want you to do things the way you want to do them. This is just to help you get there. Containers of colored buttons from the Dollar Tree and a wood plank from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to sand it down with my sanding sponge, and then I'm going to take my Antique Wax by Waverly and a water mister bottle. I'm just going to spray down that plank, and I'm just going to lightly cover it with some of the Antique Wax. I am going to wipe off the excess because what I'm doing is turning this into a stain instead of a paint. And now I'm just going to go around and do the sides as well. I've got this twine, also from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to start measuring out what will be stems for flowers. So I'm going to do them of all different lengths. I'll do, maybe 3 or 4 longer ones, some middle-sized ones, a couple little ones, kind of whatever you want this to look like. It's going to be a bouquet of flowers, all right? So think of each one of those pieces as a stem in your bouquet, and I'm just going to hot glue them down and leave a little spot at the top where we're going to add the flowers. I'll do that. Added a few here, and now I'm going to put some more, and they're all going to crisscross at that very bottom midpoint, and that becomes where we tie the bouquet. And there they all are. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add a hanger. I'm going to use the metal connector piece of a clothespin, thread some twine through the holes, and then hot glue it to the back, and that's going to be a very nice sturdy hanger. Next, I'm going to dump out my buttons, and I'm going to start with maybe 5 or 6 larger buttons. And what's really cute is that one green one actually is the shape of a flower. That doesn't happen very often. Anyway, I'm going to pick all the different colors I want, and there are all the large ones. Now I'm going to start adding some middle size and smaller ones to fill in the rest of the bouquet. How adorable is this? I'm going to take some little teeny pieces of green, like sprigs from some pics that I already have, and I'm going to hot glue them all around the stems, and I just thought that looked so pretty. I've got this pink twine that I also got at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to wrap it around one of my fingers about, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 times, cut that off, and then I'm just going to hot glue that to kind of the bottom part where they gather, and I want to make it look like I tied that around all of the stems. And now I'm going to make a little shoestring bow and just attach it right there. I think I doubled up on the bow just to give it a little more substance, but that is it. Tell me this isn't just the prettiest thing. I love it. What a great use for those extra buttons. Let me know what you think.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you.
For this Dollar Tree button hack, I've got 2 different things of buttons here. I'm just going to dump them out. And I'm going to make the shape of a wreath using the buttons. So I'm going to use about 4 of the larger ones, and then between most of them, except for the very top, I'm going to put 3 smaller ones. And I'm just messing around with the colors I want. And then I'm going to sand the piece of wood. That's also from the Dollar Tree. I've got this Waverly white wax. So I'm going to put on a coat and then wipe it off and use it like a stain. I love that look. It just slightly tints the wood. And I'm going to do that all the way around the edges as well. Isn't that beautiful? It keeps it looking natural but clean. Now I'm going to start putting the buttons back on now that I've planned them out. And I'm just going to individually glue them on. I'll start with the larger buttons. That makes it a little bit easier. And then I'll arrange the 3 little buttons around each of them. And there you go. Now I've got this lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to make an awareness bow with it. And I've got these little remnants from Dollar Tree scarves. I'm going to cut a rectangle size. I'm going to tie it in the middle, and then I'll trim off the edges, and that will become the bottom part of our bow. And then I'll make that lace bow to sit on top of it. And I thought that would look really pretty, very spring-like with the colors in the scarves. Their scarves are beautiful. There I go, just hot glue that right on the top. Isn't that cute? Now it looks more like a wreath. And then I'll make that little awareness bow. I'll just kind of tack the center with some glue just to hold it in place. And then I'm just going to angle the edges. I'm going to hot glue that right down. I'm going to put a really cute pink button right in the center, and I thought that would just finish it off because I hadn't used a lighter pink button. Now I've got these stickers from the Dollar Tree, and this one that was kind of long, rectangle shaped. It's got the little sticky tape on the back, and it says "Believe in Yourself," and I thought that looked so cute on here. I'm going to just add quickly a little sawtooth hanger on the back. And there you go. This one is done. I think it just came out beautiful. It was so simple, easy to make. Let me know what you think.
Has a reason. Baby, let it come to you. Every soul, every season lives outside of status quo. If we stop believing we're meant to be.
For this Dollar Tree button DIY, I've got a spice container that I cleaned out and saved. And then I've got these leftover stems from some flower picks. I just broke them apart. And at first I decided to use that top piece that has the holes in it, but I do end up taking that off. Now I'm going to take this rope from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to glue it around 3 times on the top. I'm going to dump out my buttons, and what I want to do is pick sets of 3 to create individual flowers, and they're going to be color coordinated. So this one I've got kind of a mauve color, then a pink, and then a deeper pink. And then I'm just going to glue them together, but between the very bottom one and the middle one, I'm going to attach the top of one of the stems, and this will become the flower at the end of the stem. So it doesn't lay perfectly flat, but that's okay if there's just a little bit of an angle there. By the time you add the last one, it looks good. So then I've just created about 6 of these, and I've got 3 different buttons for each one, and doing the same thing, just glue the stem to the bottom one, put a lot of hot glue for that. Be careful not to burn yourself through the buttonholes. I did that a few times, not fun. And then just add the other 2, and if you have to, add a little bit of glue between where that gap is. Anyway, they are turning out so cute. Now I've got this piece of pink burlap, which was also from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cut a rectangle, kind of roll it up. I'm just going to set it inside of the little spice jar, push it in, snip away any little loose edges, and that just gives it a really pretty look. Off camera, I also added some more of the rope to the bottom. And then I'm going to stand up each of the different flowers now inside. I already removed that little spice hole piece at the top because it was just getting in the way. I'm going to snip off some greenery picks. These came from Amazon. You can use any ones that you want or have around, like from Dollar Tree or wherever. And this becomes a cute little floral arrangement that you could set on a shelf, on a tier tray, or just anywhere you want. It was very easy to make, very sweet, and I hope you like it.
Every change has a reason.
For this Dollar Tree button hack, I'm going to use only the dark buttons, and then I'm going to use 2 of these wood squares. And you can get these either at Dollar Tree or on Amazon. They sell them at the craft stores. I'm going to use my antique wax. I'm just going to use it as a stain by painting it on and then wiping off the excess. And I'll do that to both pieces, both sides, and around the edges. Now I'm going to find some similar size buttons and color of the dark color that I wanted. I'm going to use hot glue, and I'm going to stand them up, going all the way around the square. You can see what I'm doing here. So just putting a little glue on the bottom, holding it in place until it stays, and just continuing to do this as I go all the way around. Off camera, I took that second square piece and I just glued it right to the top of all those buttons. Now I'm going to cut up some of these little picks from some beautiful spring florals I've had in my stash from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to put one of the kind of fern looking ones on each side and one with the little leaves on the opposite side, just to give it a little bit of color and interest. This is going to be a little candle stand, so you can just put a small candle sitting right on top of it. I wouldn't go too heavy on this one because we just use hot glue, but if you wanted to use something like E6000 or super glue, then you could put something heavier on it. But it was more decorative than anything. And I just really love the look of it. It's very simple, very farmhouse, and it would go with almost any decor really because it's just very basic in its colors. Very easy too. You'll have to let me know what you think. I really love how it turned out. If you wanted, you could actually make a set of 4 of these and then seal them and turn them into coasters. That would be very cute. DIY, I've got this beaded round, I don't know if it's like a wreath form or whatever, but it's really pretty. I've got a cool ribbon that I got from burlapfabric.com, which I'll have a link in the description box. And then I've also got some greenery that I got on Amazon. I'm going to start with a piece of jute, and I'm just going to thread it through the little, there's like a little metal hook at the top there kind of, and I'm just going to wrap it around, tie a knot, and then add another knot at the top, and that will become our hanger. I'm trying to get better at adding my hangers sooner because otherwise I forget and sometimes it's a pain. I love these greenery pieces. They're so beautiful. I'm going to make kind of like a symmetrical thing. So whatever I do on the left side, I will also do on the right side. And then I've got this beautiful fern from Walmart, and I'm going to add about 4 pieces of that because I just really want to give this some really interesting texture. So there's a variety of things to look at. I'm just using hot glue to attach this. I'm going to take my bow maker, and what I'm going to do is with this ribbon that I have, it's only one-sided, so you always have to twist in the middle when that happens. Otherwise, you won't be able to see the pattern. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail and then start on the first post, wrap it around, and when I get to the middle, I'll twist so that it is literally on the pattern side as I wrap it around. I'm going to do that about 6 times because I want this bow to have about 6 different loops. And once I've done that, I'm going to make sure that I leave a piece at the end there, not too big, but just enough because that's going to become our center of the bow. I'm going to get a piece of twine. I'm just going to tie right around the middle while it's still attached to the bow maker. And you can get this bow maker on Amazon, by the way. It's very helpful. I'm not the best bow maker, so with this, it really makes it possible. And you'll see at the end, the bow came out beautiful and it was so easy to do. So now I'm just going to kind of position that twine so that the knot's in the back. I'm going to fluff out the little loops on the bow, which is so pretty. And you can see that because I twisted it, you only see the pretty side of the ribbon. I'm going to trim off that excess jute, and then I'm going to take that piece that was extra, wrap it around the middle, and hot glue it on the back, and that becomes the center of our beautiful bow. And then I'll cut off the excess that I have there. I'm going to make another set of tails. So I'm just going to cut a piece that's a little bit longer than the one that's already hanging down. I'll twist the middle so that you see the pretty side, and then I'm going to hot glue it to the center underneath where the bow is going to go. And this will give me some tails. And now I'm going to hot glue the bow that I made right over the top of that, and look at that. Now I'm going to take the two outside pieces that were from that extra tail I made, and I'm going to make a dovetail. I'm going to do the same thing to the one center piece that was there from the beginning. And look how beautiful this came out. I absolutely love it. You will have to let me know what you think. So easy.
Every change has a reason.
For this Dollar Tree DIY, I've got this piece that was left over from a sign that just says family. I'm going to use my Craftwise chalkboard paint. Of course, I'm going to use that beaded round and some greenery and flowers. I'm just going to draw like how to round out the letters because I want to cut off that piece around the word family. So if I do this first, then I have kind of a guide to go by when I get my box cutter out and I cut them. And this is such a thin piece of MDF that if you just score it over and over on the lines that you drew, it'll just come right apart. So you just got to go slow and steady. And I'm only going to show you one little piece so you can see how it works. And then any edges that weren't perfect afterwards, I'll take a sanding sponge and I will sand them. Now, I got a little aggressive with the sanding and I broke the word, but I did glue it back together, and I'm going to paint it with that black chalkboard paint on both sides. And you don't really see now where I glued it. I am going to attach it to the center of the bead round with some hot glue. You can use something stronger if you want to. This is going to be very lightweight. I'm going to turn it over and reinforce on the back with some more hot glue just to make sure it stays in place. I'm going to take a piece of jute, put it through those little hooks at the top that are made out of metal, and create a hanger. Now I'm going to take some of the leaves off of this beautiful flower pick, and I'm going to take the flowers, and I'm just going to create kind of like a swag on the left side. So basically whatever I do below, I'll do the same on the top, hot glue it down. I love the color of these flowers. They are so beautiful. And once I have the flowers on, I'm going to add some leaves because I definitely want some greenery in there. So I'm going to put a couple sprigs of leaves in the center, and then one at the top of the flowers and one at the bottom of the flowers. And then to cover the little pieces of the leaves in the center, I'm going to add one extra little flower. Oh my gosh, I think this is gorgeous. This was very easy, very quick, and I think it's just stunning. Let me know what you think.
Every change has a reason.
For this Dollar Tree DIY, of course, I'm going to use this beaded round. And then I've got the 2023 Home Sweet Home calendar, and I'll actually use that page that has what the cover has. And I'm going to use a piece of foam board, some florals from Dollar Tree, and this fern from Walmart. I love using calendar pages when I do things. I'm going to figure out where I need to trace the circle over the calendar page, and I'll just do that with a pencil. And once I have it all traced out, I will cut that out. Now I'm going to place it on top of my foam board and trace it again, because I also want to cut out a piece of foam board to match the size of the calendar picture. I'm going to use my rotary cutter that I use for quilting, and I'm just going to go around. It's just kind of easy to do curves with this one, and I'll just slowly go over it until I get what I need, and then that will be the perfect piece for this to be the calendar page to be sitting on. I'm going to take some Jot glue stick, and I'm just going to start placing it on the foam board, and then little by little I will put put the calendar page on, I like to do it in sections and use my brayer to flatten it out. It wasn't flattening that good. I wonder if it's because it's foam board. So I had to push some of it down with my fingers, but I don't mind if it's not perfect. I'm going to use hot glue and go all the way around the edges and attach the round beaded wreath form. And it stays really well. Of course, you can use E6000 or a stronger glue if you want. But again, this is so lightweight, I felt like the hot glue was going to be just fine. And there it is, all glued on. Now I'm going to take this sisal rope that I got from burlapfabric.com, and I'll have a link in the description box for their website. I just love the color of it. It's really beautiful. And I'm just going to add a hanger at the top. I'm going to put it through those metal hooks that they have at the top of this. Now I'm going to take the flowers, which happen to be very close to the color of the flowers in the calendar picture, and I'm just going to pull off 3 of them, and then I'm going to take the leaves as well. I'll cut off the little piece that sticks out on the back, and I'll start with one in the center, put the first flower on, and then put one on either side and add the flowers right in the middle. I thought this was just a beautiful touch. Then I'm going to cut some pieces of that fern and just add a piece on each side, and I thought that looked so beautiful. I love the variety of the greens. I love the way this looks. And then I'm just going to go around the edges of that foam board. I just didn't like the way it looked. It felt kind of unfinished. I'm going to use that sisal rope again and go all the way around and hot glue it. And literally, that is it. This was very easy. It turned out gorgeous. And this would be pretty on your door, on the wall, wherever you want, or even as a gift. Let me know what you think. For this Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to take another one of those bead rounds. I've got some twine, and I've got this beautiful metal like bell with a flower on it. And so it's almost like a chime. It's got a hole at the top. So I'm going to take my twine, put a little hot glue on the end to make it pointy and stiff, and I'm going to thread it right through that hole. And then I'm going to attach it to those metal rings at the top of the beaded wreath form. And that way I have a place to hang it. And it worked out exactly right where the top of the flower left enough room for the bell to hang, which was perfect. I was worried it was going to keep hitting the little wood beaded round, but it didn't. So that worked out just great. So I'm going to knot that up, kind of attach it at the top, and then turn the rest of that into a hanger, since I've already got the twine right there ready to go. This is probably one of the easiest DIYs I've done in a long time. This took no time at all. So easy. This would even be a fun one to do with the kids or grandkids. I think this would, and it's so beautiful too for being so simple and easy to do. I'm going to take this greenery from Amazon, and I'm literally just going to add a piece to each side, kind of tuck it into that twine so you don't see the ends. And then I'm just going to add one more little piece with a couple leaves on it over the twine just to kind of cover that up. And can I just tell you, that is it. This one is done. So easy. It barely took like 10 minutes to make, or less probably, but it turned out really beautiful. You'll have to let me know what you think, and is this something you might want to try? I think anytime you can get something that's so easy to do, comes together so quickly, and it's really beautiful, that it's definitely worth doing. So I don't know about you, but I look for items like this. Dollar Tree gift bag hack. I've got a gift bag. I've got a wood round that was from the fall, and I'm just going to start cutting out the words on this gift bag. As it turned out, the 2 larger words, together and loved, would not fit on this round, so I end up doing something different. I'm only going to use the words in the center, which is they built a life they. So you'll see I'm going to cut each of these words out individually as tight as I can, to the edges of the words. Next, I'm just going to use my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, and I'm going to do 2 coats on the front of this wood round. Then I'm going to take a furniture marker, it just happens to be like black, and I'm going to write in cursive, together and loved. Now, this is not perfect. I don't do calligraphy. I kind of wanted it to look more natural. So if you think it's a little messy, that's actually my intention here. If you're really good at that, then obviously by all means go ahead and do that in a much more, precise manner. I just wanted it to be very casual, and I will dry that ink with my heat tool. Next thing, I'm going to place the words individually on there where I want them to go. And once I've decided where they're going to go, I am going to use some Mod Podge and put it on the back of each of the words and then put it down on the wood round. And when I'm all done, I roll the brayer over it just to try to flatten it. You do see the edges around the words, but I don't think it's distracting. I'm just going to take a piece of wood, which is sort of like a flat edge, and I'm going to draw some lines with a pencil, and it's going to look like kind of shiplap or plank. And I'm just going to slightly wet my finger and rub over that pencil, and that makes it look a little bit more realistic. It also creates a bit of a distress effect. Once that's done, I'm going to take some steel Waverly chalk paint and I'm going to rub most of it off with the brush and then put it around the edges and kind of lightly over the top, just a dry brush effect. And I just want it to look a little bit more, worn and, distressed. If you are enjoying this video, I hope you will subscribe if you haven't already, like it, share it, and leave me a comment. Thank you. Next, I'm going to use some of this greenery from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to make a little swag on the top. And off camera, because I forgot to film it, I also added the lavender and a black hanger. I love how this turned out. It's really cute and it has that really nice kind of antique look to it. Let me know what you think. Functional kitchen DIY. I've got these wire baskets. I've got a page from a calendar at Dollar Tree, some zip ties, and a piece of, I guess it's like a paneling I got at Lowe's for free in their scrap pile. I'm going to rip around the edges of my calendar page just because I want it to blend a little better when I attach it to this piece of paneling. There it is, all done. Now I'm just going to position this on here and see exactly where I want to put it. The colors just really blended well. I'm going to use some Mod Podge and I'm going to start in sections and I'm going to attach this calendar page. And as always, I will use my brayer, which I love to use because it helps it make better contact. Now I'm just going to complete the rest of it and then I'm going to put some Mod Podge over the top. I'm going to take my Waverly Antique Wax and I'm just going to do some dry brushing where I put some on my brush, wipe most of it off, and then drag it around the edges of the picture and then also all over this piece of paneling. I wanted it to look a little more distressed and that helped blend with the calendar page as well because it was a little darker. You could add as much or as little as you like. Now I'm going to put my baskets where I want them and then draw some dots where I'm going to need to drill holes to attach the baskets to this piece of paneling. If you haven't figured it out, this is going to be a cool little produce holder. Now I'm just going to put a piece of wood underneath to lift it up a little bit. I'm going to take my drill and I'm just going to make the holes where I made those little dots. And then I'll do the other two. Now I'm going to take this very thick nautical rope from Dollar Tree. I'm going to start about halfway across on the bottom, glue it to all of the edges, and then what's left I will leave up on the top as a hanger. Then I'll add one more piece across the top, and this just gives it a nice finished look. Of course, this is optional, but I like the way it turned out. There you go. Now you can see how it all looks. I'm going to reinforce the back with some hot glue. Obviously, I don't want to do it on the front because you might see it. And I'll go around the whole thing. Now I'm going to come in from the back with one of my zip ties. And then I'm going to pull it through the basket around some of the wires and back through the hole to the back side. And then I'll attach it and pull it tight. I'll snip off the excess and I'll do the same thing. I ended up adding a second one to each to give it more stability. I love how this turned out. It's so cute and it's very functional. Winning combination. What do you think? For this functional kitchen DIY, I've got this cutting board, and then I'm going to use some chalkboard paint. I'm going to tape off a square kind of in the middle. And then what I'm going to do is paint with the chalkboard paint. And I'm going to paint down away from each of the tape edges so that it doesn't bleed. And I'll do the whole thing 2 coats. And boy, how satisfying is it to rip off that tape? And I'll dry it off with my heat tool. Now I'm going to take this chalk marker and I'm going to put on it today's dinner. And you can use this if you want to just put what you're making that night for dinner or whatever you want to put on there. Actually, this is just my idea. That way, since people like to ask, you will have it there. I'm going to take some chalk. I didn't have any white, so I had to use this yellow. But I'm going to kind of season this chalkboard. So what you do is you just rub the chalk all over and then you wipe it off. And it's like, when you have a skillet that you need to season, it's the same kind of idea, except for you're doing it with chalk. And now you can just write on it with chalk and it will work really well. So I'm just going to put beef stroganoff because that sounded good to me. Anyway, I think that color I used wasn't very bright, so I did go ahead and add some color over the top of it. But this is so easy to do, and you could do this for anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be today's dinner. It could be something else. It could be, a shopping list, whatever you want. I love it. Now, it seemed just a teeny bit plain to me. So I decided that I should add, some greenery just to give it a little bit more interest. So I'm going to use these flowers, these peonies from Dollar Tree, and then some of these greenery pieces that I get on Amazon. And I'm just going to put the leaves on first, then attach the flower, and then add some of those leaves that I'll snip off on either side. And I think that adds such a nice embellishment. I think it's beautiful, and it just very cheery and fresh for your kitchen. I love how easy this was and how cute it turned out. You'll definitely have to let me know what you think about it. I'm going to take this gorgeous napkin that has roses on the bottom there and this terracotta planter that's also from Dollar Tree. I'm going to take a napkin, and it's a 2-ply napkin, so I need to separate the plies. I'm going to take a little piece of tape, put it in the corner, and when I turn it over to pull it apart, it just starts to separate naturally, and it's very easy. It's the best way I know to separate the plies on a napkin. Now I'm just going to cut out the design that's on the bottom of this napkin because that's all we're going to need to make this project. I love using Dollar Tree napkins, or any napkins for that matter, to make crafts or DIY projects. I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum chalked linen white paint. I'm going to paint a generous coat around the entire pot on the outside. Then I'm just going to kind of rip the edges around those leaves at the top because I don't want that clean white line. It probably wouldn't show with the white paint, but just to be on the safe side, I'm just going to rip that around. You can also use a little fine tip paintbrush and some water to help you separate that. But when it's super fine like this, I do like to rip it with my fingers. I'm going to just add some Mod Podge around this entire pot in little sections, and then I will add some over the top, and I will cut into smaller pieces the napkin. If I don't cut it, it's going to start moving upwards because it's a circle and it won't lay flat, so you need to cut it into smaller pieces. So here I am piecing the napkin next to the piece there, and then using the Mod Podge, of course, very carefully with my finger. You can't really use a brayer on this because it will get very wet and sticky and probably rip the napkin. You could use saran wrap over the top instead of just your finger, but I felt comfortable doing this. I'm going to finish it off, and there it is. This turned out so beautiful. Then I'm going to take this little half of a styrofoam ball, put it in the inside of the pot. I'm going to use these peonies from Dollar Tree, and then also I've got some greenery from Amazon, and I'm going to do the floral way of doing thriller, filler, and spiller. So the flowers are my thriller, those greenery pieces are my spiller, and then I'm going to use another greenery that I got at Walmart, and I'm just going to cut off little pieces and use that as my filler. It's kind of a fern looking one. And I think the different textures keep this very interesting. I love florals that are interesting and full, and I think this one just turned out beautiful. You could use any napkin you want, and I think it would just be really, really pretty in your house or even outside if you wanted to. This is such an easy way to upcycle any kind of a planter that you might have. Let me know what you think.
Every change has a reason.
gorgeous floral napkins. And then I've got these eyeballs. They were back from Halloween. You could use ping pong balls for this too. I just ran out of them. I actually only needed one napkin for this. I started off with two, thinking that I would need two of them. And then, you know, all those backs of the napkins that I keep pulling off, I saved them and I used it to kind of crinkle them up and stuff them inside this napkin. And I'm turning it into kind of like a little bag. Now, you could put little candy treats in there, whatever. That's when you'd want to double up the napkin because otherwise it would break through. I'm going to take a little piece of jute and just tie a bow. This would be such an easy, fun one to do with the kids or grandkids. It's very simple, not a high skill craft at all. I'm going to split the top of that napkin into two. They're going to become bunny ears, so I'm just kind of squeezing them up, and then I'm going to make that little bow right in the front. Now, if you were just putting treats in this, you could stop right here. I mean, that would be good enough. Everybody could know that this was a bunny. But I'm going to show you an extra little thing you can do. It's definitely optional, though. I'm going to take that ball or eyeball. I'm going to put the hot glue right on the eyeball part because we don't want to see that, and put that right there between the two ears. And I'm going to make a little bunny head. I'm just going to take a little bit of paint and the end of a paintbrush, and I'm going to make a little face. But right now I'm going to shape those ears as best I can, take a little hot glue to tack them down, and just try to make them look as much like bunny ears as possible. There's my chalkboard paint in black, and I'm just going to put on a couple eyes and then a little piece of the mouth. Off camera, I did add a little pink nose. I thought I filmed that, but I guess I didn't. Now I've got this gold and white twine that was from Target. I'm going to cut 6 little teeny pieces. I'm just going to hot glue them on, 3 on either side of the nose, and those are going to be the little bunny whiskers. And honestly, that is all there is to this one. It would be super cute, like I said, for the kiddos to put some candy in there. They could hand them out to their friends. You could use them as place markers at a table, just for fun. Again, super easy craft, nothing difficult, no big techniques, nothing like that. But I like to include that every once in a while just for fun. Let me know what you think.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you.
This Dollar Tree napkin hack, there are some beautiful spring napkins. I love this set of napkins. I've had them for a long time, and I actually have used them before. We're going to go ahead and remove the ply. It's a 2-ply napkin, and then I've got this basket. And I got this basket at a thrift store. It's not a Longaberger basket, in case anybody is wondering. And I'm going to take my piece of tape and separate the 2 plies. I'm going to go ahead and clean off this basket with a baby wipe, just gently. Now, I'm going to add some Mod Podge. I want to tell you up front that I was not happy with how this one turned out, okay? But I left it in so I could show you, because maybe then you will choose not to do this, or you'll try a different way. I cut out individual flowers and I started to Mod Podge them on the side of the basket. And then of course I dried off the Mod Podge with my heat tool. Then I took my little utility knife and I wanted to make sure that none of the napkin pieces went over the weave of the basket. So I cut those, and I thought that would help a little bit. But what I don't really like is how they just looked on the basket. So what I think I would do next time is only do the rim of the basket and not the front or the sides of the basket. I did my best to just cover them up and see if that would work and kind of put them in the shape of almost like a flower themselves. But I'll be honest with you, I'm just not super happy with this one. But you know what? Sometimes that happens with crafts, and that's why I left it in. I wanted you to see, 1, that it definitely happens to me, and 2, that it could happen to anybody. I'm going to take a furniture marker that's in kind of a brown walnut color, and I'm just going to go around each of the flowers. I thought maybe by defining them, that would help. It was better than it was before, but I still wasn't super happy with it. So again, do what you like. If you like it, then that's great. This would be a great craft for you. I didn't like the way it turned out, but it's still something that I tried, and I would do different by only doing that rim around the basket with the Mod Podging, and I think that would have looked good. See, it's not terrible, and I'm using it right now to hold some extra fabric that I have, but you decide, what would you do?
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you.
Dollar Tree doily hack. I'm going to take 6 doilies, and then I've got this beautiful scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby. And first I'm going to take this twine and I'm going to make loops on each end. That way we're going to make a cute little banner garland, and I want to make sure I have little loops to hang it with. So we're going to take the smaller size doily, I'm going to separate them, and I'm going to fold them in half. This is such an easy way to make a cute little garland, banner, whatever you want to call it. I love this concept. There's so many different things you could do with it. This one was with the scrapbook paper, but I think there are just tons of ideas you could do with this. So the way I'm going to put it on here is I'm just going to fold it in half and then slide the twine into the center. So I'm just kind of positioning them now to see I ended up with 6 of them. Now I'm going to figure out how I can get these pieces of scrapbook paper to be the size of that little like kind of half circle. So I realize there's little holes in the doily. So if I just go around them with my pencil and just kind of put a dot in each of the holes where I want on the scrapbook paper, it is the perfect size and I can just cut it out. So I cut the first one and then I'm going to use it as a template to cut all 6 of my pieces. And I just want to make sure it looks right. So I'm just kind of placing it there. Look at that gorgeous scrapbook paper. So I'll just do the same thing with the other ones till I get 6. I'm going to do 2 of each of the scrapbook papers that I chose. So there they are, all cut out. So now what I'm going to do is find the center of my twine. And then I'm just going to set my scissors there so I don't forget where it is. And then I'll put 3 of the doilies on each side and I'll add a little hot glue inside, attach it, and then I'll put a little dot of hot glue on the bottom so the bottom is also attached. And I'll do that for all 6 of these. You don't have to use hot glue, by the way. You could use tacky glue, whatever you want. I just happen to have my hot glue out and ready to go, and you really can't tell the difference. So there they are, all attached now. I'm going to use some Elmer's glue. I've finally got the kind that shows purple until when it dries, it's clear. I love it because now I can see where I put the glue. I've been wanting to get this for so long and there was a sale, so I grabbed it. I'm so excited. The little things, right? When you're a crafter, little things. Anyway, I've attached them all now. I used my brayer to make sure they were laying nice and flat. And I think this is such a beautiful spring banner. You can hang it anywhere. It's going to hang by my coffee bar. And I love how it turned out. It just makes me smile. Let me know what you think. For this Dollar Tree doily hack, I'm going to use 2 of the smaller doilies. And then I've got this book. It's my husband's. And he said that I could make a cover for it or I could change the cover of it. I'm going to clean it off with some alcohol just to make sure it's not dirty. It's old and it's been sitting in a cupboard for quite a while. Now I'm going to take my Amy Howard at Home paint. It's like an off-white. And I'm going to give the whole book 2 coats, but I'm just going to start with the top for right now to show you how this is going to work. And there I am adding my second coat. Now I'm going to turn the book up, standing up like that on its ends, and then I will finish painting the rest of it. So I'm going to take one of those doilies and I'm going to kind of half it on the bottom side there and use Mod Podge and attach it. What we're just doing is creating a beautiful, what would be like the cover of the book, so that if you want to have it sitting out as decor, you can, regardless of what the book is. So I'm going to cover it with Mod Podge as well, very generously, because I want to make sure it lays very flat. It's really the texture that we're going for more than anything here with the doily. I'm going to cover the whole thing with the Mod Podge as well. And now I'm going to do the binding of the book and the back as well. Same exact thing. It's always easier if you do this in sections when you're decoupaging. Now I'm going to take another one of those doilies and I'm going to water down a foam brush and use a little bit of the Cashew Waverly chalk paint. Just kind of dab on there. I want this to look worn. You could also use tea, by the way. I just thought this would be fast and easy, so that's what I did. And then I just dried it off. And it gives it that kind of distressed look. And I am going to add that one to the upper right top of the front of the book. So we'll add our Mod Podge. Then we'll put down our doily. And I didn't use my brayer because I didn't want the glue that would come through those holes to get all over the brayer. So this is such a thin thing, you can just use your brush to push it down. So that's what I did. So now I'm just covering the top of it with more of the Mod Podge so that it's nice and sealed. So now what I'm going to do is cut the edges, but I'm going to leave a little bit so I can tuck it around the edge of the book. And then I'll take the Mod Podge and go in underneath and then over the top and just push it over until it stays. And then I kind of pushed it a little bit with my hand just to make sure there were no air bubbles. And then I added just a little bit of paint around the edges, and that's it. It's so pretty, and you could put this on a shelf and it would just give it such a nice little antique look. And it could be any book you want, to be honest with you. Would you try this? For this Dollar Tree doily hack, I've got this cute little, it's not a mason jar, but it's like a little jar. And then I've got this pink burlap that I had already glued like a sleeve for one of these. So I thought I'll just use it because I already had it. And now I'm just going to attach it to the glass. I'm going to cut most of that beautiful lace edge off of the doily. I'm going to leave just a little in there because I don't need that big of a piece. And then I'm going to take that piece I cut off and I'm going to wrap it around. It's almost like giving it a little skirt. And I'm going to start hot gluing it around. And because it doesn't go around perfectly flat, I wanted it to have like little ruffles, if you will. So I just kind of let it lift up and then put another piece down, let it lift up. And I just love the effect this has. It's just so, so cute. And this is just paper. You could do this with a cloth doily as well. And when I get to the end, I will just attach it, cut off any excess, and then make sure that the pieces are attached to each other with the hot glue. And you could use any kind of glue for this as well. Now I'm going to take what was left of that piece that I was using, and I'm just going to roll it around itself, and I'm going to create a little rose with it. So I made it a little tight, then I loosened it, and then I'm going to glue it to itself, and then I'm going to trim the bottom, and then I have to glue it again because I wasn't sure exactly how this would work. I was just going to play with it until it looked the way I wanted. So I'm going to take these beautiful flowers that I got, I believe from Dollar Tree a while back. I'm going to trim off the stems. And then I'm going to take a leaf from another pick, and I'm going to attach it right to this burlap here on the front of my little jar. Then I'm going to make my little rose even a little flatter because it was going to stick out way too much the way I had it. And I'm going to hot glue it right to that leaf, and I'm going to add one more leaf right next to it. I thought that was so pretty. What a neat way to use the doily, not just as the little skirt, but to create this flower. Next, I'm going to take some Spanish moss, and I had some little sticks in there, and I thought anything I could just to kind of fill this up, because I don't really want to see those stems from the flowers I'm going to use. And then I will stick them in there, and just, this is so beautiful. I love the colors of these little flowers, and the leaves are really cool too. They're not like your regular leaves that are kind of shorter. These are just so pretty, and look at that. This was so easy to make, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's just so cheery and bright, and it makes me think of spring. How about you? 33 of the regular size clothespins. And then I've got a wreath ring from the Dollar Tree, a small one, and 2 sets of napkins, one from the Dollar Tree. And then I've got some burlap. What we're going to do is we're going to take the burlap, we're going to wrap it around once on the wreath ring and hot glue it to itself. And then we will just start wrapping around, kind of overlapping until we get around the entire wreath ring. And like I said, this was a smaller one. I think they're like 6 or 8 inches. And then on the back, I'm just going to hot glue the end of it down and trim off any excess. Now I'm going to take one of those metal connectors and do the same thing I did before. Thread some jute through the little squiggly parts. Hot glue it directly to the back as our hanger. I'm going to trim a little bit of the jute because I had too much. But I will go ahead and hot glue that down. And then I will also hot glue down the remaining jute. That way it's nice and secure. And what a great way to have a hanger. One of my beautiful viewers suggested this. Actually, it was her husband's idea. So I love sharing those ideas. I'm going to take one of the napkins that I had. I'm going to take a little piece of tape and put it on the end. And when you do that, it's so easy to separate the plies. This is a 2-ply napkin. I think this one came from Pop Shelf, and I got it when I was out of town. Unfortunately, we don't have one here. I'm going to cut away the part of the napkin that doesn't have a pattern. And then I'm just going to turn over the part that does have a pattern so I see the back side. I'm going to put a generous amount of hot glue on the back of each of those clothespins until I have however many I want in this pattern I'm going to do. So because I've got 2 napkins, I'm going to have 2 different patterns on my napkins. So you can decide what number you want to do. Here's my other napkin, which is from the Dollar Tree, also a 2-ply, and I will separate it the same way and attach the clothespins exactly the same way. Once they dry, I'll turn it over and add another coat of Mod Podge to the top. When that dries, I'm going to cut away the excess paper and then cut between each clothespin so that I just have a clothespin with a little bit of napkin hanging over the edges. Once I got them all cut out, I'm going to take a little sanding sponge, or you could use a nail file, and in a downward motion, I'm going to go around and I'm just going to get a clean edge by going down on the sides and sanding off the excess, and it just leaves such a beautiful edge. I will show you. Look at that, perfectly clean. So I'm going to do that to all the rest of the clothespins. There they are. Now I've got my wreath all ready to start gluing them on. I'm going to start like a clock, and I'm going to pick one clothespin at 12 o'clock, one at 3, one at 6, and one at 9. It always makes it easier to even things out. Now, I'm not going to say that I always even them out perfectly even when I do this, but I'm just telling you it's a great tip to do it. So now I'm going to start working out whatever pattern I decide to do. So there they are. All 23 are on there right now. I attached tea bags. That's what I decided to do. You could put pictures, anything you want. What a fun idea for a wreath. Let me know if you'd like to try this one. For this clothespin DIY, this is so easy. It is using the least amount of clothespins, just one. And then I've got this cute little cutting board that I got at Hobby Lobby and some florals that I got from the Dollar Tree. And this is a picture of our late dog, Sophie, who died a little over a year ago. We still miss her so much, and we have some pictures of her. So I thought, what a good way to display them. I'm going to cut it out like fussy cut. You notice moving the picture more than the scissors is what makes that come out really well. I'm literally going to take one clothespin. I'm going to hot glue the back side of it directly to kind of like the handle of the cutting board. I'm going to put Sophie's little picture. It almost gives it a 3D look like this. And I left a little bit of the outline around her. Then I'm going to take little pieces from this Dollar Tree pick and just put a couple of the leaves and flowers. And I'm going to take some twine. I'm just going to tie around the center and attach them so that they are nice and secure. Plus, it gives me something very nice to attach to the cutting board. I like to do that. I mean, you can glue those greenery pieces right on if you want. I just like to do it. It's easier than if you decide to change it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that on there, wait till it dries. And then what I'm going to do is I've got this ribbon. I think I got it at Walmart. It's a long time ago. And it's got cute little paw prints. I'm going to make a little awareness bow, bring down the middle. I'm going to put a touch of hot glue in there just to hold it still after I trim off, the excess there. I'm just going to make sure that it stays while I wrap twine around it. Now, you could just go directly to the twine and wrap it around it. I seem to lose the shape of my bow when I do that. So that's why I use a drop of hot glue. So I'm going to start with the twine on the back with a little bit of hot glue and then just start wrapping it around till I get the center that I want, the thickness that I think is nice. Once I do that, I'll trim that and hot glue it to the back again. And now I've got this beautiful bow with that twine right as the center. I'm going to hot glue it directly to the center of my little pick arrangement. And then I'm just going to cut a little angle on each side. I'm not going to dovetail these. It's kind of a small ribbon. And that's it for that one. Now I'm going to take another little piece of that ribbon and I'm going to put it directly over the top of the clothespin and then trim off the excess at the end. And it's so cute. I love it. I'm going to put another piece of twine together through the hole coming from the back and just do kind of a slip knot right through it and then tie a knot at the top. I'll trim away anything that's not even. Honestly, it's so easy. I was going to stop here and then I thought, you know what? I'd love to put her name on it. And I didn't want to use any of the stickers that I had. So I carefully, in cursive, wrote her name, Sophie. And now I'm going to go over it with one of the Dollar Tree little fine tip markers. And I'll go over it a few times and start thickening up the letters a little bit just to make them look a little bit fancier than my handwriting. And I just think it came out so pretty. And we'll always see our little Sophie, who we miss so much, when we have this up. Anyway, I hope this will be inspiring to you. You can put a dog, a child, whatever you want. I think it would be so fun to do.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you.
Another super easy clothespin DIY. I'm going to need 13 and a half clothespins, and then I'm using this apple juice bottle, plastic bottle. I'm just going to take off the wrapper because we don't need that. And then I'm going to take a clothespin. I'm going to measure how tall it is when you just have one up against it. And I'll use a second one just to validate it. And then I'm going to take a box cutter and go around and cut that whole thing off. So I just have enough that the clothespin will cover. And this particular box cutter is like an ergonomically correct one I got on Amazon. And I love it. It's in my Amazon store if it's something you're interested in. The link is always in my description box below. And then I used some scissors to cut off any little points that were left. I'm going to separate all of the clothespins from the metal and then save the metal like I do for hangers and whatever else I decide to do with them. On the flat side, I'm just going to put the hot glue and then attach it directly to the little plastic container. This is going to become a little teeny succulent planter, or whatever kind of planter you want. And I'm going to use the curved side at the top. I thought that was a pretty design. And it's so repetitive, you just keep going all the way around and till you get the last one on there.
This summer I'll be by your side.
And it worked out perfectly. Look, there's about half of it right there. And I think it's really cool because I wouldn't be able to cut wood that way. I don't have the tools to do that. There it is, the whole thing done. Now you could leave it natural if you wanted. You could stain it, you could paint it. I decided, because copper and rose gold is so popular right now, that I would take this rose gold folk art metallic paint that I have, and I'm just going to do the very top section. So I'm going to go around and do that flat part and then up over the top. That part's going to be in the rose gold. And you'll see here in a second that I have the whole thing done. Isn't that pretty? Then I'm going to do just the bottom section the same way, all the way around and then over the edge so that you can't see the end of it. And it's so easy. I mean, that's all I decided to do. Found a smaller succulent because this is a really small little container. And I've got some Spanish moss. I'm going to put that in there. And then I'm just going to cut away any pieces that are wily and sticking out, not what I want, and see how that all looks together. So trim that up just a bit. You could have it overflowing if you want. I'm just kind of neat and tidy, and that's the way I wanted to do it. There's no right or wrong way to do things like this. Do whatever you think looks good. Then I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue. I didn't have the stem on that particular succulent. Add some hot glue, at least that way it sort of sits down. It's not fully attached, as you know. Anyway, but I thought it looked really cute. It's going to sit up on a shelf where I have some other copper and rose gold things, and I just thought that would look so beautiful. This was very easy, very fun to do. Let me know what you think.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you.
Dollar Tree sock hack. I have these adorable socks from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut along the edge of one of them, and of course I've got that wreath form that we're going to use, and I'm going to cut some strips. So that's why I'm cutting the sock open, and then I'm just going to get rid of the curvy parts and start cutting some strips. Now I'm going to use these strips to wrap around the wreath form. But first, let's get our hanger on there because you know me, I forget sometimes. I'm trying to get better with this. I think I am. I hope I am. Anyway, I'm just going to wrap it around like a lark's head knot and then put another knot at the top, and there you go. Trim off the excess, and now we have a hanger. Now I'm going to start with the first strip of the sock, and I'm just going to hot glue it to itself around the back and start wrapping kind of at an angle around. Doesn't only overlaps kind of on the edges. That way we don't have to use so many socks to do this. And each time I finish a piece, I'll just turn it over and hot glue it on the back. And then I'll start the next piece going in that same direction on the back, start wrapping it around, and just continue doing this until I get to the actual end of the wreath ring. There we are with the last piece. Just going to wrap that one around and secure it in the back. Isn't that already pretty? It's just kind of puffy and spring-like. It's so cute. Anyway, now I'm just going to take these gorgeous flowers I got from Walmart. They have some really pretty ones, and their prices aren't too bad either. I'm going to start with a larger flower in the center. I think the larger one actually came from Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to secure a bunch of these leaves all along the left side only. We're just going to do the flowers on half of the wreath. So once I get them snipped, I'm going to glue them on, kind of like the first one will be going upward and then the next one will go down. So it almost creates like a leaf circle kind of. And then I will start putting the little flowers down on the leaves. And I think that's just going to be so pretty. By the way, this is a very easy project and it turns out gorgeous. Now we're just going to put on the very last little flower. And there's a little gap up at the top between the top one. I do end up adding one more flower off camera. I think this is so beautiful. And it came together so quickly. What a fun DIY. What do you think? For this Dollar Tree sock hack, I'm going to take 2 of these really pretty mauve colored socks, some popsicle sticks, and these wood slices. And you can get these on Amazon. I'm going to use my miter shears and just going to cut those little popsicle sticks because I'm creating ears. These are both going to be adorable little bunnies. So now I'm cutting out the heel because I want that white piece. You'll see we're going to use that for something in just a little while. So we're going to save those. Now I'm going to cut the middle section where there aren't any curves, and I'm going to trim off the white part as well. We're going to use this part of the sock to cover the bunny ears, which are the popsicle sticks. So we're going to glue the popsicle sticks onto this piece with some gaps between them, and then I'm going to start wrapping the sock around so both sides are covered by the sock, and then I'll snip them and just kind of hold them together with the hot glue. So you can see here I'm gluing the first piece that I'm going to fold over. Now once that dries, I will cut in between and leave just enough to be able to pull it to cover that edge. And then I'll snip either end so that I can fold those over and glue them as well. So that way it'll be fully covered with the sock. And this just gives us our cute little pink fuzzy bunny ears. The reason I use hot glue is because it dries so fast. You could use any glue you want, but with this, it's nice to have something that does dry quickly. Now you can see how that's going to go on the back side of that will be the bunny, actually the bunny butt. So now I've got them all done, and I'm just going to glue 2 ears to each one on the back side. Now we're going to go back to those little white fuzzy heels we cut out, and I'm just going to kind of trim off the pointy ends. Now I'm going to fold it into itself and kind of squish it together to make a little bunny tail. And then I'll just use some glue to kind of secure the pieces in place, and we'll use the smooth side as what we see. So you see how I'm starting to fold it into itself, and then I'll add more glue and just kind of keep rolling it around until I get the little bunny tail. Now you could use, yarn and make pom-poms if you want, but I thought since I had the white from the sock, why not use it? And I'm going to cover up that hole in the wood slice with this, and so that works out perfectly. I'll do the same thing to the other one. Now I'm going to take a Jenga block for each one, and I'm using the brown ones, which I don't see anymore, but I still had some. And that becomes our little stand. Isn't this adorable? It was so easy, and I just loved making it. Let me know what you think. For this Dollar Tree sock hack, honestly, this is about the easiest one. I got these cute striped socks, and then I had this little tin planter from IKEA, but they sell them at Dollar Tree and Walmart too. What I'm going to do here is just cut a section that fits around the center part of this planter. So I'm cutting off the toes, I'm cutting off the heels, and I had just kind of held it up to the planter to see where I needed to cut. Honestly, this is ridiculously easy, which makes it so awesome. So now I've got my piece. I'm just going to kind of trim up any excess, and I'm literally going to stretch it around the little planter and set it around the middle. It's almost like, those little cozies that you can get when you get coffee or whatever. It's like a little planter cozy, but it's so cute. And look at that. It just stretches right over, and then I'll just kind of flatten the edges because they got a little curly, and just kind of, push them down. Actually, you don't even have to glue this on because it just stays right there. Now for fun, I've got these beautiful flowers I found at Walmart. They've really got some beautiful florals there. And I'm literally just going to set them in. I'm not even going to put foam or anything in there because it's just going to cover them up. I'm using quite a few of them, and I think this is stunning. I mean, these flowers are beautiful. And then the cute little cozy around the planter. You know what? It just doesn't get any easier than this. I mean, no sewing, no gluing, no painting. This is my kind of a DIY. You'll have to let me know what you think of this one. I absolutely love it, and I love how easy and fast it was to make.
Every change has a reason.
For this Dollar Tree sock hack, I've got some pink and white socks, I've got some jute, or actually nautical rope, and then some wire jute, and then I've got this cute little tray I got a long time ago at the Target dollar spot, and these gorgeous flowers from Walmart. And then I've got a little bit left over from a Dollar Tree scarf. I'm going to start with the nautical rope, and I'm just going to hot glue it around kind of just underneath that top little edge of the tray, and I'll go all the way around. Then I'm going to take a piece of nautical rope. I'm just going to measure, 2 even pieces, and I'm going to do a lark's head knot around each of those handles. And that's where you just put a loop over and pull the 2 ends through. Now I'm going to take the wire jute, and I'm going to attach it through the lark's head knot there and leave a little excess on each end. And then I'm going to pull up the center to create a bigger kind of a handle than what there is, so it goes all the way across, and that's with the wired jute. Then I'm going to wrap the nautical rope that was remaining around that wire jute, and I'm going to hot glue it on. See, that's how it looks when you do both sides. Now I'm going to snip and attach the ends of the jute at the bottom by the lark's head knot and put it down with some hot glue to make sure it doesn't lift up. And then I'm going to take the whole thing and attach it to those other handles with the hot glue. So now I'm going to take 2 more pieces of the wire jute, and I'm going to create 2 bunny ears, and I'm just kind of measuring on the top to see about the right size. And I'll make sure they're both the same, and then I'm going to take the socks and I'm going to stick that right in there to give me a bunny shape and kind of hold the edges in that curve so they don't fold into themselves. And then I'll add a little bit of hot glue towards the top of each one. I'm also going to use some foam board and just cut 2 pieces to stick inside to make sure that is even more sturdy. I wanted the round shape, that's why I used the wire jute, but I still want the stiffness for the whole thing, and that's why I'm using the foam board. Now I'm going to put that inside the sock, and then I realized it was too thick at the bottom, so I am going to snip the ends kind of down into a little point. I'm going to add a bunch of hot glue, and I'm going to attach that to the top of that handle that I made, and then I'm going to add more glue and wrap the bottom of the sock, or actually it's the top of the sock, around itself and hold it in place, and I will add some clips until it's dried. And I'll do the same thing with the other ear. So there you go. And then I also glued in between in the middle to hold them together a little bit more and put the clamps to hold them in place. Now it's still not standing up the way I want because the wire jute isn't real sturdy. So in a second I'll show you how I fix that. But in the meantime I'm going to tie a knot right in the middle of that scarf, and I'm just going to make a simple shoestring bow, kind of play with it till it looks the way I want, and then I'm going to hot glue it right between the bottom of the 2 ears. I'm going to leave those tails on there for now. We're going to need them. I've got 2 dowels from, I think they were from Dollar General or Walmart. I'm not sure. I'm going to take those dowels, I'm going to take the pointy side and push it through the inside of the sock going up towards the top. I'm going to do that with both of them. Once they're in place, I'm going to put the dowel down next to the handle and hot glue, a lot of hot glue right there. We're going to cover that up with the remaining tail from the scarf. Just going to kind of glue that around, tuck it in, and that will cover up the handle that wasn't so pretty, but it's just more functional. And then I'm just going to, bend down the ears, and now we've got this cute little bunny tray. I think it's adorable. You'll have to let me know what you think. This was one of those times where I was just thinking out of the box. Dollar Tree foam board hack. I've got a piece of foam board, and I'm just going to trace a square using that picture that I had. Now I'm going to cut it out with my blade, and then I'm going to draw another square right in the middle, and I'll use my blade to cut that out. I just found something that was that size and traced it over the top. Anything that doesn't push out quickly, I just turn it over and I just go ahead and score it again. Now I'm going to use my ruler to do a diagonal line from the inside square to the corner of the outside square, and I'm going to turn this into 4 pieces and cut them, and this will be a picture frame type of a thing, but it will have those beveled or mitered edges. I'm going to use my Nimbus colored chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm just going to do a coat over all 4 pieces. And then I'll do the sides as well. I'm going to take my steel colored chalk paint. I'm going to use that to dry brush. So I'll put some on my brush, wipe most of it off, and then drag it around the edges. And I'll do a little bit in the center too, just to give it a distressed finish. And there it is. And I'm going to just do a little bit in the middle, like I said, just very lightly.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking?
Now I'm going to turn it over because I'm going to attach it from the back. So I'm going to put some hot glue on it and see if that will be good enough, kind of, rub it in with my little spatula. And then I'm going to add a piece of masking tape over each corner just to solidify it and make sure it stays in place.
And I can't help but smile.
Got this gorgeous striped ribbon from burlapfabric.com. And I'm just going to cut a piece that I can pull around the top and attach in the back. And that will be like what will hold this wreath we're about to make with this greenery I got from Amazon. So I'm going to cut the little pieces and start shaping into a round wreath. So at first, it's not like a perfect circle because we are working with a square, but then I'll take some little pieces and start filling in. And now you see a circle there. And then I'll just fill in any like holes or anywhere that it needs to be a little fuller. You can make this as large or small as you like. This is the size I thought would look the best with this frame. And I'm just trying to create kind of a farmhouse looking frame, and then with the wreath on it with this ribbon around the center, and I'll hot glue it to the back and then seal it together just by hot gluing. This gives it that really pretty farmhouse look. I'm going to take a little piece of twine, tie it in a knot with the two ends, and create a little hanger that we're going to hide on the back of the ribbon so nobody sees it. All we see is the pretty ribbon. And just attach that there, and then take another little piece of the ribbon and cover up my knot with some hot glue just to secure it. It's very lightweight. Remember, we're using foam board here. And now I've got a beautiful hidden hanger on the back. I think this turned out gorgeous. I love this one. I think this one is my favorite today. You have to let me know if it's yours.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you.
For this Dollar Tree foam board hack, I've got another piece of foam board, and I'm just going to use this wooden piece to draw two rectangles. One will be longer than the other. I'm going to make a beautiful cross. And I thought because Easter is coming, this would be so perfect for that. So I'm just going to pull off my pieces now that I've cut them with my blade, trim off any little edges with the scissors. Sometimes that happens if your blade isn't super sharp, and I guess mine needs to be changed. One thing, be very careful cutting foam. It becomes more hollow in the middle if you're not real careful. I'm going to take my Nimbus colored chalk paint. It's a very light gray, and I'm going to use that for this cross. But first, I'm going to cut the piece out that overlaps because I want this to lay flat. So I'm just going to draw a pencil line where that is, and now I will go ahead and paint this cross in the Nimbus and dry it with my heat tool. Now I can assemble the cross, and it will lay flat. I'm going to turn it over and put the glue on the back and use the masking tape like I have done before. It just works really well with the foam board because the inside can kind of get melty with the hot glue. So having the tape there is really the best option. And you see it bent over, so I did add a little more glue while it was bent open and then pushed it back together. And now I'm just going to add some more of that paint to the front. Bestie, I just want to thank you for being part of this community. I have met the most wonderful people. You should really get to know each other in the comments. Lots of people praying and just being so kind. We're going to add our hanger. I'm going to use that metal part of a clothespin. I'm going to take a very small piece of twine and put it through the little, I guess it's like a coil or a spring part. Hot glue that metal to the very top with the hook part sticking up, the part you could hang it with. And then I'll hot glue down the twine and add some masking tape with glue over that. And we'll have a very good seal, and this will hang up nicely. It's lightweight, not going to be a problem at all. Now I've got these half beads that I got a long time ago on Amazon, and when I run out, I will be getting more because I love them. Anyway, you can add them on with hot glue or any glue you want. I chose hot glue because it's such a lightweight project. And now I'm going to dry brush some of that steel chalk paint from Waverly around the edges and the sides of the cross. I just want to give it that, kind of distressed antique look, and I think it just looks beautiful with the natural wood beads on there. Now we're going to take the Nimbus and just clean up the edges of the sides, I should say, of the cross. I'm going to add some greenery in the 4 little intersections there. I'll just glue them on from the back using the hot glue. And that's all there is to this project. I am going to add a little bit of masking tape just to make sure that that stays on there. I just like to give it more structure. I am in love with this one. I think it would be beautiful any time of the year, but especially around Easter, to remind us of what our Lord and Savior did for us. For this Dollar Tree foam board hack, I'm going to draw some little lines to guide me. I'm going to be drawing an egg. So I thought if I did a top and a bottom and then a little bit wider than the top third and then kind of connect them. So you can see I made quite a mess of it, but I did finally get a shape that I think looks like an egg, and I'm going to use my blade to cut it out. And again, anything that doesn't come through on the back, I'll just score it again with the blade and make sure it's a nice line. Now I'm going to freehand a bunny. I am looking at a picture. I can't do this without a picture. So if you need to do this with one, or if you want to get something and trace it, that's also fine. And you notice I go over the lines and correct them, and that's okay. This is all going to be covered with this antique wax by Waverly. Now we're going to be using Spanish moss, but I don't want the white underneath it showing, so I'm going to use that antique wax first. That way, no matter what, you'll see dark underneath that bunny, and then I use the white wax on the background. I'm going to take this beautiful jute twine that I got at Walmart. It's my favorite place to get this thickness, and they have the best price, so that's why I get it there. And I'm going to hot glue it all the way around the edge. And doesn't that look pretty? I love it. And then we're going to make a jute hanger. So I'll just put these on with hot glue and a piece of masking tape, and it'll work perfectly as a hanger.
I watch you as you drive.
Now I'm just going to make a cute little shoestring bow to put at the very top of the egg. This is going to be a very rustic piece. So I know a lot of you love rustic, so I think this will become a favorite for many. We'll trim that bow and just tack down the ends of it so it doesn't get in the way of the bunny ears. Now I'm going to use my Aleene's tacky glue. I am not as much a fan of hot glue when I do moss like this because it just sticks in one spot then. And I want this to stick over the whole thing. So I'm cutting smaller little sections of the Spanish moss and pushing it on the Aleene's tacky glue, which does dry pretty fast. And I'm going to do the whole bunny. Now I'm going to go around with this little scissors that I have, and I'm just going to trim all the edges. And there you go. Look how nice that looks. And that's why I painted the antique wax underneath. And I've got these 3 ribbons from Dollar Tree. This chevron one is wired. I'm going to fold it into 4 ribbons. I already have 2 ends folded. And I'm just going to cut it out. Now we're going to make like a fussy bow. So we're going to crisscross the 4 pieces. Then I'm going to take one of the other ribbons, and I'm only going to cut 2 of this one and just crisscross those. And then the lace ribbon with burlap, I'll cut 2 and crisscross those. I do want to dovetail the ends of the thicker bow by folding the ends in half and cutting a triangle up from the bottom towards the center, and I'll do that on both ends. The other 2 ribbons, we're not going to do that. They're just very small. Now we'll do our crisscrossing again and assemble this bow. And I'm going to take a piece of twine, a very thin one, put it over the top, flip the messy bow so I'm on the back. And then I'm going to tie as tight of a knot as I can to cinch this bow. Make sure it's in the center. That's the other thing. Sometimes they wiggle around. Once I get that tied, I'm going to snip off any excess twine, and I'll kind of fluff the bow. Make sure all the pieces are pulled out so we can see them. And then I'm just going to hot glue in the center and put that right on my bunny. And I decided to kind of put it on the bunny's front chest. I looked through my button stash and I found a beautiful big black button. I'm going to put it right in the middle of the bow with hot glue, and that's it. This was so fun and easy, and it turned out, I think, just beautiful. Let me know what you think.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you. Every soul, every season.
For this Pinterest-inspired foam core board hack, I'm going to cut a 11 by 11 piece of the foam core board. And then looking at that picture that I just showed you from Pinterest, I'm going to hand draw kind of a rough flower. I mean, it is not fancy, and I'm definitely not an artist. I literally think anybody could do this. I'm just making petals around petals around petals, you'll see here. And I'm drawing it with the pencil. That way I have something to go on once I start using paint and so forth. We're going to do two really cool techniques during this DIY. The first one, we are going to take the elephant chalk paint by Waverly and paint all around the flower. You want to have a dark color underneath because that's what's going to peek through. We're going to do a crackle effect. Then we're going to use some Mod Podge. You could also use glue. I'm just going to put a coat over the gray paint. And I'm going to put a generous coat.
And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on.
Then I'm going to take my heat tool from Amazon and I'm going to dry it just till the very top is sort of dry to the touch, but not the whole thing. And then I'm going to use the color that I want on top, which I'm going to use white, and then get my heat tool again. And as you heat it up, the glue starts to shrink, or the Mod Podge shrinks, and it creates the crackle effect. Keep your eye on the area that I'm using the heat tool on, and you'll start to see the crackle happen. It's so cool. So I'm going to do that everywhere that I put the Mod Podge and the paint, and I'm loving that look. Then I'm going to take some caulk that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to outline the petals of the flower.
I put my feet up and we just sing along.
There you go. And it doesn't matter how bumpy it is. You want it like very textured and lumpy. I'm going to use the Ballet Slipper chalk paint by Waverly and mix it with water. And I'm just going to go very lightly over where I had already put the white off camera, and then kind of blend it with my fingers. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the like a red color to the center just to give it a little dimension. I'm going to make a stem with a little bit of brown. And then I'm going to cut two rectangles that are the same 11 inches wide, or long, I should say. I'm going to paint them first with the white and then with the burnt umber, all in a downward direction to give it the wood grain. Now, I thought that's what I was going to want. I went ahead and I glued one to the top and one to the bottom, but I didn't like it. So I get out my elephant chalk paint and I do those top pieces. And I think it just needed something a little darker so that the flower would stand out more. And I really think that's much, much better. I'm going to put a little piece of twine on the back with hot glue before I put my craft paper to finish the back. And then I'll cut a little line to pull back that hanger. And I'm going to add two skewers that I have. I'm going to paint them elephant on the edges, put Mod Podge over the whole thing. I added a piece of twine over the stem, and now I'm going to wrap, I don't know, like 10, 20 times around my finger, a teeny little, like kind of a pom-pom, tie the center, cut the other end of the loops, and hot glue it right to the center of the flower to give it more texture. I think that just really made all the difference. So let me know what you think. This one was very different for me, but it was really fun to experiment with it. Would you ever try something like this? Let me know down in the comments.
Just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know?
Piece of twine to hang from the Dollar Tree. I think it's so cute. And then I've got this packet of stickers, and they say some really cool things, and I just love them. They've had so many cute stickers like this, kind of 3D. I'm going to use the one in the top left corner that says Our Family Rules. I'm just going to cut it out. And then it's got that piece of foam on the back, like a foam tape, and I'm going to let it be there. I'm not going to take this one off. I'm just going to position it right in the middle of the watering can. I'm going to get rid of the hanger for the moment just so that I can work with the glue and everything without messing it up. Then I'm going to take some faux flowers and I'm going to pick the ones I like. And I've got these peonies from Amazon. They're in my Amazon store and they're my favorites. If you're interested, you should go check them out. Great price too. And then I've got this really pretty yellow flower. I think it's a dahlia from Dollar Tree. So I'm going to cut off the little pieces at the end so they don't stick out. And then I'm going to hot glue the leaves right back on. And once those are glued on, I'll be able to glue the whole thing onto the watering can. I just don't want it to be too raised up. It's already three-dimensional, obviously, as it is. So now I'm going to get that hot glue all over there, and I'm just going to put this on the smaller of the two flowers because I want to bring this to life and make it more, you know, like I said, 3D. And then this gorgeous, oh my gosh, this gorgeous peony. I'm going to take off the leaves. I'm going to glue these separately because I didn't want to stay as easily. So I'll just hold those leaves down, and then I will add the peony right to the center of it. I do add a couple more leaves and a couple more little floral pieces that came with the peonies just to add a little more texture and dimension. And I love the combination of all these flowers together. I just think it's so cheery, so spring. And then you've got the metal, you know, watering can. I love the combination. I just think it's so bright and fresh. I know know some people would put the things that are going to go underneath on first, but I like to see the main pieces and then build around them. So I don't mind scooting them off to the side just to fit something in. But I feel like you can tell how full it's going to be if I build on top of each other. It looks almost too, I don't know, perfect. I kind of like the way it looks like it's just kind of growing naturally into each other. Anyway, that's just my way of looking at it. I like that look. Let me know how you like to put flowers on. If you have a way that you do it, or you just put them on and don't worry about it. Whatever way is fine, because we all need to do things the way it suits us best. I'll put the hanger back, and that's it. This one's done. This is probably my favorite or second favorite between. I love this one too. Maybe it's a tie. Let me know what you think.
Just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't
Got
you
this
know?
thankful Dollar Tree sticker. Actually, I don't end up using it, but you'll see what I do. And this really gorgeous wooden watering can with the little wood cutouts. I am going to use my heat tool and just heat that up and use a little spatula and take them off. I get off as much as I can, and then I just go ahead and sand it. Sometimes they come off so easy and not other times. I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, and I'm just going to paint that base of the watering can and a little bit around the flowers. And then I'm going to use several different full guard apple barrel type colors. Got a turquoise and a pink, and then I'm going to use a yellow. I'm just going to start painting the flowers, just different colors. I want them to be really bright and vibrant, and then this beautiful bright green for the leaves. I've also got a sage by the Home Decor line of plaid. I'm going to do that one other leaf there. And then I've got these little paints that came from a little wood kit that I got, and I never used them, but I saved them. So I thought, oh, I'll just use those. And there are my flowers. And now I'm going to create a faux galvanized look using the steel chalk paint, the black paint, and then this brushed metal silver. And I'm just going to start dabbing. So I'll put a little on the brush, dab it off on the paper, and then dab it all over the watering can. You've probably seen me do this before on my channel. I love this effect. And now I'm putting some black on. And I did get a little heavy-handed with the black, but no problem, because I can just take the brushed silver and go over it. Or if I wanted to add a little more white back, I could do that. But I'm really happy with the way it looked. I really, really love this. So easy to do. Then I just took a baby wipe and I wiped off anything that got on the flowers. I've got these little round pop-up stickers, and I'm going to put one in the center of each of the 3 flowers on the bottom. It was really too small to put on the larger flower. So what I did was I found this little sunflower sticker from the Dollar Tree, and I cut it out and I put it in the center, and I thought that looked really cute. It almost makes the whole thing look like a sunflower, and like that's the center. Got this really beautiful 3D grateful, thankful, blessed kind of a wreath looking thing from the Dollar Tree. I've used them before. And I'm just going to put Mod Podge down over the entire thing. And then I'm going to place that little 3D sticker kind of wreath looking thing right in the center. It's so pretty. I'm going to put the Mod Podge over that as well. That way I can make sure it's going to stay, and it's just going to look like the rest of it in that regard. This was such an easy project to do. You could paint the flowers any color you want. You could paint the watering can any color that you want. I'm going to add the little twine back that it came with, and that's it. So easy, so cute, and ready for spring. What do you think about this one?
Just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here?
In the Dollar Tree, they're kind of 3D, and some of them have words and some look like wreaths, and I've got this little hinged house with a plaque next to it. I'm going to take my screwdriver and I'm going to take the hinges off, and then I'm going to turn it over because I'm actually going to use the back. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. I took about 2-3 coats on both pieces, and then I'm going to sand down very lightly just to have a nice smooth surface. On the house, I'm going to take this little home sticker. I'm going to take the foam tape off the back, and I'm going to put some Mod Podge down and then lay that down. It's still 3D even without that foam piece in the back. The little wreath on the front is just slightly lifted up, and I'll lay a little bit of Mod Podge over that as well. I think that's just really pretty. This one's going to be pretty neutral. And then I've got this sticker, our family's gathering place, and on the bottom it says sit long, talk much, and laugh often. And I'm going to cut those out into little pieces, including the little separator kind of things. I'm going to position them on the little square plaque, and then I'll take off the backing and place them on there. And I just think that this looks really cute. Very simple, not too bright or colorful. Like I said, I'm going to keep this one on the neutral side. That way it could be used all year round. I'm going to cover those stickers with Mod Podge. I'm going to take my burnt umber paint by Apple Barrel, and I'm just going to paint around all the edges of both of the house and the plaque. I've got this little plant from IKEA, and I always just pick little pieces out of it and I use it for little greenery. And then I've got this moss that looks like it's on a piece of burlap. I'm going to cut a rectangle out. I'm just going to hot glue it to the very bottom of the little square plaque. Once that's on there, I'm going to take some little pieces from that other plant from IKEA. I'm just going to hot glue them in place so it looks like there's little plants growing out of that grass. Then I've got these other cute little plant things. I think they came from maybe Target, from the Dollar Spot, on another little greenery piece. And I'm just going to put a couple little and just add a little dimension to it. Then I'm going to take that house and I'm going to use some E6000 and hot glue, and I'm going to attach it right at the top on top of the square plaque. Kind of want that layered look. And once this is on there, I'm going to take some craft paper and cover the back so you don't see what used to be there. I like to finish my signs whenever they look like they need to be finished. And I'm just going to add a little hanger made out of twine. It was so easy and it's just so neutral, and I think it would go anywhere. I think it just looks great and I love it. And I hope you do too. I think this one might be my favorite today. You'll have to let me know if you think so too.
Just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop.
I am in love with this gift bag, no pun intended. It is so pretty, and this is going to be the easiest DIY. I've got this $5 breakfast in bed tray from the Target Dollar Spot. I bought it a while back, and I just wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. And then I saw this gift bag, and I knew what I was going to do with it. This is incredibly easy. I'm literally going to cut off the front side of the bag, and of course I removed the handles and that kind of stuff. And once I get it cut out, I am going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to go around and fussy cut out the design. This is actually the only part that really takes much time. And you know what? Put on a video or some good music, whatever, and just kind of go to town. Just be real careful, go slow, and I'll just get everything that I don't want in this project to just be cut right out. And it's actually a very easy thing to do. Just have a cutting mat underneath you when you do it. And there it is, all cut out, the magic of editing. So I'm just going to place it on top of the breakfast in bed tray and see how it's going to look. And I'm going to use my Jot glue stick from the Dollar Tree. I only wish I had the one that was purple. I think that would be Elmer's, because it's easier to see where you've already put the glue. And when you have a bigger piece like this, it's hard. You have to kind of hold it up to the light to try to see it. So anyway, I think I'm going to, once I run out of these glue sticks, I'm going to get the purple ones. Now I'm going to take an X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut in each of those slats, or the seams of the slats, whatever you want to call it, and just kind of dig out the pieces of the gift bag so that you can see them. And that way it just looks more planked. And again, it took a little bit, but you just go slow. Make sure your glue is dry. I'm going to take some white Waverly wax. First, I'm going to go in on those plank seams. And then I'll lightly brush over the entire thing. Just kind of makes it look like it's all one design, if you will. We're almost done. That's how easy this is. I'm going to add some Mod Podge on top, and I love it. Let me know what you think. Talk about a cute festive gift bag. I loved this one, and it was really for a baby. It says welcome little one, but we're just going to use the welcome and that really pretty rainbow. I'm going to remove the handles and any stickers on there. And then I've got this wood round from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use the back side of it. I'm going to cut out that front piece of the gift bag again. And I'm just going to take the little hanger off and use my heat tool from Amazon to remove the label. It works so well for that. And I'm in a position where I want the rainbow to be. And then I will take my Aleene's tacky glue and I'm just going to hold it in place and start putting glue on there. And this is so easy. I can't believe how easy this one is. I finally got a new brayer. Yay. So now I can use it when I'm doing any kind of Mod Podge or anything like that. And now I'm just going to lift up the rest of it. I like doing this in sections. That way you don't have to worry about glue getting on anything and drying and just anything like that. And I use the brayer again. I'm going to take this awesome box cutter that I got on Amazon that has a really nice grip handle. And I'm just going to go around and cut off the excess of the gift bag. I'm going to use my heat tool to remove that little bow on the back of the sign. And then I'm going to poke through the holes because I'm going to be putting craft paper on the back and I don't want to lose sight of them. I am going to put the word welcome down below and I'm going to use this gorgeous ribbon from Dollar Tree. It's very spring, kind of Easter looking. I love that plaid with the different colors. And I'm just going to put some hot glue and lay it down right at the seam. It didn't quite match up. I would have been left with a little gap. So that's why I decided to do this. Then I'm going to put the Aleene's tacky glue underneath and add the word welcome. I'm going to cut off the big pieces of the excess and then I'm going to glue on the rest of it because I had just done that one section so it wouldn't move around. And of course I will use my brayer again. Now that I have it back, I'm so excited. I'm going to take my box cutter and go around and get the rest of that excess off. Now I've taken some little pieces of greenery and made a little swag with them. And then I've also got these little flowers from the Dollar Tree and I've got jute cord. I'm just going to tie it right around the center and that'll give me something to put the glue on and actually would also hold them all together. I'm going to add one more flower right to the center so you can't see the jute. And then I'm going to hot glue it right to the very top of this gorgeous round sign. I guess it's going to be a door hanger. There's the craft paper I'm going to use on the back. I'm going to do Mod Podge all over the top. And I'm going to take this mop head and I'm going to put strands of it around the whole thing. And I think this one just came out so festive. Let me know what you think. This gift bag is gorgeous. It says to have and to hold, and I love the farmhouse look. So I've got this huge wood round from Home Depot. I think it was about $7 or $8. It's very thick and heavy, but this is going to be a really substantial sign, and I cannot wait to put it up in my house. Just have to find the wall space. I'm having a little issue with that. There's no wall space. Anyway, I'm going to cut out the front of this gift bag, and gosh, I can't tell you how beautiful this is, and it looks so high-end when it's all done. I'm going to figure out exactly how much of it I want to use and get rid of the part with the little holes where the handle was. And then I'm going to kind of measure to find exactly the placement where I want to put it. And I'm going to grab some masking tape. I'm going to tape off part of the top and a part of the bottom because I want to use my white Waverly wax and just do those two outside parts and around the edges in that color because a lot of the stuff in my house is kind of off-white. So I thought this would be a really nice way to make it coordinate. And with the Waverly white wax, you can do it just like you do the regular antique wax. And that is you put it on, you can either leave it or you can wipe off the excess. I chose to wipe off the excess so it kind of give it more of a whitewash type of a look, but it's really pretty. You can still see the wood grain through it, so I really like that. And now that it's all done, you can see here where the difference is. So the middle is the natural wood and then you see the two ends. Then I'm going to take my sign, if you will, my gift bag, and I'm going to place it, and then I'm going to do some more glue stick and just get that on there again. Wish I had the purple one for this, but then it gets on there one way or another. I just would have liked to be able to see it. And then I'm just going to use my brayer and put it down, and gosh, this is gorgeous. I am in love with this. How easy is this? Seriously. And look how high end it's looking. Once I get it on, I'm going to take a sanding sponge and I'm just going to go around the sides and get rid of the excess. Now I did use the X-Acto knife to get the big pieces off, but I want a nice clean edge. So when I'm done, it's perfect. I love the way it looks. I'm going to put 2 heavy duty screws on the back and some wire for a hanger. And that part is done now. The only other thing I'm going to do is I've got a Magnolia wreath from Five Below. It was like $5.55, and I'm going to place that around it. And when I hang it up, that's how I'll do it. And I think this turned out gorgeous. It looks so expensive. And it was a gift bag from the Dollar Tree. I mean, seriously, I cannot get over this one. It's one of my favorites for sure in this video. Let me know if it's yours. So for this gift bag hack, I thought I would really think out of the box. I've got this candle holder from the Dollar Tree, and look at these cute little gift bags. They have like a texture on them, and I thought that would be really cool to put on something and then paint over it and you'd see that texture. So I'm going to cut out the part that has the texture on it, which is basically everything but the very bottom of the bag. And I only needed 1 bag for this, but it did come with 3, so that's kind of cool. I'm going to figure out how I need to cut this so that it will because obviously it's more narrow on the bottom than it is on the top of that kind of cylinder thing. So I decided if I cut it like kind of in a triangle with a wide little top, then I could put that towards the bottom and glue it on. And then I'll just cut pieces just like that, using that as a template, and then I'll just glue them on. So I used my Aleene's tacky glue for the big parts, but when it was all done and we got to the seams, they wouldn't lay down. So I had to use a little bit of hot glue and then just carefully wipe it off if it snuck out of that little area. But just, a little tip, that was an issue because you need it to dry pretty fast or else it starts lifting. I mean, the bag is kind of thicker than regular paper. So here you see, I'm adding my first piece. I started with that Aleene's tacky glue on the bottom, and then I fold it back and get the rest of that piece, and I'll just kind of wipe the glue so it, it's more spread around evenly. But as I added the other ones, I did have some seam issues. So there I am adding the glue at any part that had a little seam to make sure it was secure. And then I snipped off around I guess that's going to be our bottom now, any excess. And then I've got these little pop-up dots that I'd already painted white from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to place them all the way around the very bottom. You'll see me doing that here in a second. And I'm going to just put them all the way around. Once they're on there, I'm going to take my white Rust-Oleum, linen white chalk paint. I'm going to paint the whole thing so you can see the texture and over those little pop-up stickers. And then I'm going to distress it a little with my white Waverly wax because, again, I wanted it to be just slightly off white. And then I wasn't satisfied. First I left it like this and I just wasn't happy. So I've got this metal ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take a piece of it and I'm going to wrap it around what is now the top where I'm going to have the candle sitting. So see, there it is. And I'm just going to hot glue it around, and that's it. And now I'm happy with it. I think it just needed a little extra something. So I love it, and it was really, like I said, thinking out of the box on this one. You have to let me know, what would you have done with that gift bag? I just thought it was so cool with the texture. I had to turn it into something really cool. Let me know what you think. Napkins with these leaves on them. They are 3-ply, and I've got this little sign from the Dollar Tree, and these are peonies from the Dollar Tree and one from Amazon. The Amazon ones are gorgeous. I'm going to put some tape on the back of my napkin to remove the ply. It makes it come off very easy. And then this is the 3rd ply coming off. And then I'm going to go around with a spatula and try to get this paper off the front. I thought I was doing such a good job, and I peeled it off and it wasn't off. So I sprayed it down with some water and got it off. And I used this staple remover that I got on Amazon. It's got to be the most heavy duty, best staple remover I've ever used. Anyway, and then I'm going to pull off the sign, and you see it was like halfway on the sign, and I'm going to move it up to the top. I put the arrows there. That way there's less of the stick showing. I'm going to add a hanger on the back with some hot glue and some masking tape, and I'm going to paint it with my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. Then I'm going to place the napkin right where I want it, and in sections I'm going to lay down a thin coat of Mod Podge and very carefully spread the napkin out on top of the wood. and just trying to avoid bubbles and wrinkles. I don't mind a little bit. And I'm going to put Mod Podge over the whole thing. Now, this is a different way to do it. While it's still wet, you can carefully rip it around the sides. But once it's dry, I went around with a nail file to make sure I got everything off. I'm going to take that gorgeous peony from Amazon, and I'm going to glue it right on. And then I'm going to cut off some of the little petals on the peonies from Dollar Tree because I want them to seem smaller, and I'm going to glue them right next to it and have some leaves there as well. I just think it's beautiful, and the combination of the two is gorgeous. I have this really cool mesh ribbon and a little sheer ribbon that matches, and I'm just going to cut one piece, cinch it in the middle with some twine, and then I'm going to wrap the sheer ribbon around about 5 or 6 times and then tie that in the middle, and then just kind of pull out the little loops, and it just makes for a cute little bow. I probably should have made it a little bit bigger, but I'm okay with it. Anyway, I'm just going to tie the twine, knot it off, and then I'm going to take that mesh one and cinch it like I mentioned, and then I'm going to attach that to where the stick goes up on that sign, basically putting it upside down. And that's why the top part's going to have the bow. So I'm going to put that on there with some hot glue, and then I'm going to put the bow right in the middle of that with the hot glue as well. And I just think this one came out so pretty. I love it. And that napkin is just gorgeous. I've never seen them before, and it's been a while since I bought it, so I'm not sure if they still have it, but it is just such a beautiful napkin. I love this one, and I hope you guys love it too. This box at Hobby Lobby. It was on clearance it was under $8, and then originally I think it was $39. Beautiful. It's got cane on the side. It's a nice box. It's got a little bit of faux leather for the handle, and then I've got these gorgeous napkins from the Dollar Tree, and I love that pattern around the side, so I'm just going to use that part with some Mod Podge. I'm going to take a piece of tape because it's a 2-ply napkin, and if you put a piece of tape on the back and then pull it apart, it separates the plies so easily. Sanded the top and the bottom just to make sure there weren't any rough patches. Now I'm going to take my napkin and kind of position it how I would like it to be, and then I'm going to fold back a section, and I'm going to use my Mod Podge, and not heavily but very lightly. I've misplaced my brayer. I've got to get a new one, so I'm doing this with my hands, so I didn't want it to be too wet, and I'm actually pushing very lightly to get out the wrinkles. I'm okay if there's a little bit. It kind of adds to the charm. And now I'm going to do another section, and then the final section when I add some more napkin to this. And now I'm going to cut away that part where it's just white, and I'm going to cut another piece to fit in there and add some more flowers on there. And it's a busy pattern, so it's not going to look like I piecemealed this. It's just going to connect right into the pattern. And here comes the little piece that I cut. Just going to lay it on there carefully. And like I said, after you get it attached, you don't really notice at all the difference. I'm just going to make sure all the little ends are down. And then I will go ahead and use my brush to kind of flatten it a little bit as I cover the whole top in Mod Podge. And without the brayer handy, that's going to be my best bet. Yeah, there are other ways to do it with saran wrap and also with an iron, but I just chose to go ahead and do it this way. Now I'm going to take a nail file, and in a downward motion, I am just going to take off that excess napkin. Now I've waited till this dried, otherwise you might pull the whole thing off. So once it's dry, you can go around the edge and do that. And look how beautiful and a clean edge it is. I'm going to take my Agave chalk paint by Waverly. It's my favorite Waverly color, and I'm just going to go around the edges. Now I put 6 little felt circles on the bottom, and I put Mod Podge throughout the inside and on the one little piece in the front. And there is my lid, and I'm going to put this back together using a screwdriver to put the pieces back. I really love how this turned out so pretty. Dollar Tree napkins for the win. Oh my gosh, that flower is so beautiful. I think it's a rose, And these are 2-ply. I just love them. And then I've got this cute little hanging sign with a little hanger on it from Dollar Tree. And it's got a hanger in the back too already. It makes it so easy when that's already done. I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum linen chalk paint for this one. But first I'm going to cut out just one of those flowers. That's all I need for this one. This is super, super easy. Then I'm going to take my tape and put it on the back and pull apart the 2 plies and keep the one that I really need. I always use the backing like if I need to wipe my fingers on something. So there you go. I don't waste any of it. I'm going to take a little baby paintbrush and mist it with water, and I'm going to go around the flower, and then I can just rip around it. It looks so much better when you do that instead of cutting. And, you know, it's not a big deal because when it's wet, it just rips so easily. So I do that all around the entire thing. See how it's wet all the way around, just so you can see what I did to it. And there it is, all ripped out. And now I'm going to use my screwdriver and just remove the little hook because I'm not going to keep what it says on there, obviously. So I'm going to sand it down the best I can. I couldn't get the paper off this one. It didn't matter how hard I tried. So I just sanded it as much as I could. I'm going to do 3 coats of that Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint because otherwise it just wouldn't have covered. But no big deal. It's a small little piece, so there we go. Now I'm going to lightly sand it just so that I have a smooth surface to place that rose on. I'm going to set it where I want it and then just do sections at a time like I always do. Put a light coat of Mod Podge down and then very carefully press that onto the surface going towards the edges with my finger. I promise I'm going to get a new brayer. And I'm just finishing up the other side of the flower. I think this is so pretty. I mean, just one flower, that's all it needed. I just think it's so simple and just beautiful just by itself. I'm going to do a generous coat on top just to make sure it's nice and sealed in. And you might see I have a little leaf hanging over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that hang over. I'll Mod Podge that on as well. And then I'll just take my nail file and just take the excess off the edge there. I thought that was kind of cute. So now I'm just going to put back the little hook, and then the little screws that came with it somehow fell off my desk and I couldn't find them. I even went searching with a magnet, couldn't find them. So I put 2 other screws in, but they were silver, so I'm going to use my European gold rub and buff, and I'm just going to cover that up and then put a little bit on the rest of the hook, and then it just looks like it was always that way. I love this. So cute, so easy. You could hang your keys on it. You could hang a scarf, whatever you want. Just so fun. I hope you guys like it. I'm going to use 34 blocks. Now, some of them have these little cutouts from the back of a calendar from Dollar Tree, and my friend Jamie gave me a bunch of her crafting stash because she's focusing on her Etsy shop, which is Oh Simply Irresistible. She makes the cutest little Disney ears, and I'll have the link down below in my description box in case you want to check it out. Great gift idea. Anyway, each of those little signs are made up of 3 tumbling tower blocks and then the little cutout of the calendar glued on. And Jamie actually included those in the stuff she gave me. Now I'm going to take the rest of the blocks and I'm going to put 2 between each one going horizontally, and then 1 between each section going vertically, and then at the top I'll add an extra row, and at the bottom I'll add an extra row. And you'll see that as we get going here. I'm going to start gluing the pieces of 2 together and then position them using the Aleene's tacky glue and the hot glue. So now that I've got all those done, I need to put the 2 on the top together and then the 2 on the bottom together, again going horizontally. You see how I'm doing that right there. Then I need to start adding the pieces that go downward. So I'm just going to glue each piece. The last thing we're going to add are those little pictures. And I'm kind of calling this like an affirmation decor piece because it's, you know, very encouraging words that are on those little calendars, and just to make you, you know, feel good and think good things about yourself. So there you go. Now I'm going to paint this whole thing in my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. I'll do the front and the back. And then I'm going to put hot glue like above and below each one, and then turn them upside down and push it right over the top. That way if any glue oozes out, it shows up on the back, not the front. And that worked out really well. And then I'm going to add a little sawtooth hanger that I ordered on Amazon. I'm going to screw those 2 little screws right in there. And then I'm going to cover it with some matte Mod Podge, the whole thing. Got these cute little pieces of greenery. I think I got those at a thrift store. I'm just going to make like two sides that the middles are glued together. And then I'm going to take this dahlia from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to trim off some of the petals in the back to make it smaller. But first I'm going to tie some jute around the center of my little greenery arrangement. And then I will get rid of some of those petals on the dahlia and hot glue the dahlia right to the middle where the twine is wrapped around the greenery. And that's just going to be such a pretty little centerpiece right there at the top. And I just love how this turned out. It's just so encouraging and uplifting. And it's pretty too. I think it's very spring-like. You'll have to let me know what you think. I've used those little pieces on the back of the calendars in the past. I've made little blocks out of them. This tumbling tower block hack, you're going to need 24 blocks. I'm going to use that tacky glue and hot glue again, and I'm going to make a little wreath, and I'll show you that in a minute. So the way I'm going to create my squares is I'm going to start with the first block, put the glue on it, and then have the second block right next to it. Do you see what I mean, where the tops meet? Now this next one, it's going to keep going around almost like a chain, and they just kind of fit inside of each other as you go. It's probably easier for you to just see what I'm doing right here. Now we're going to need 5 more of those because there's 6 total that we need, and there they are. Now we're going to glue them together so we have one solid piece. All the pieces will be glued together. I'm going to paint it with my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, and I love that look. It's just so clean. Now I'm going to take these pieces of greenery that I ordered on Amazon, and I'm going to take the wire that they were on. I'm just going to round it out and then wrap it around itself to create a circle. It's definitely bendable, so you can do that. It's pretty stiff, so it takes a little bending, but once you get it, and I just wrap that end around just to make sure it's going to stay in place. And since I cut all those little teeny pieces of the greenery off, I'm going to start gluing them around that circle and make a little teeny wreath that will go on this window. I'm just kind of calling it a window. And I think that's going to look so pretty when we do that. And there it is. You can make it as full as you want. And then I'm going to take this very sheer pink ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to wrap it underneath the top of the wreath and pull just enough so that it can hang over the back and it can be hot glued on the back. So it looks like it's just kind of hanging there. Got it in position. I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue on the back, and I'm just going to bend that right over and dab that in. And both sides automatically go in because it's sheer ribbon. And I'm going to cut off the excess. Now I'm going to add a little bit more glue there because I want to add a little piece of jute just to create a hanger in case I decide I want to hang it up. And then I'll put a little more glue and a little piece of masking tape, and that thing will be there forever. Now I felt like the wreath was a little plain. First I'm going to go ahead and secure it to the front so it doesn't move around. But then I just didn't have any little teeny flowers, but I did have some little kind of like sequins. Now I'm not a sequin glam girl, but I thought that might look pretty if they were just subtle. So I just put 6 of them on there, and you know, I actually kind of like it. I think it's cute. You'll have to let me know what you think. Do you like the sequins, or what might you have put on if you didn't have any little teeny flowers handy? Let me know. Use 10 corks. I've got this wood ornament that I ordered on Amazon with a whole bunch of them, and then a succulent that came out of a little planter from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to take my utility knife and I'm just going to score over and over to get rid of the top of that ornament because I don't need it. And I just couldn't find a circular one that was the right size in my stash. I'm sure I have one though. And now I'm just going to cut off the excess because it didn't make a clean break. No big deal. And then I'm going to take my little sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree and I'm just going to sand it off. You're really not going to see too much of that, but I just wanted it to look nice. Now I'm going to take my Antique Wax by Waverly and I'm going to paint just one side of it. And that's going to actually be the bottom. It's the only part that you will see, you know, when this is all done. Now once that dries, I'm going to take my corks and I'm going to position them in a circle on top of the little wood round. I'm going to take the hot glue and I'm just going to put the hot glue on the bottom and glue it to kind of the outside edge. So the cork is half on, half off, or maybe a little more than half on. And I glued them all, and there you can see they're all there. And then I'm going to take some Spanish moss that I had, going to stuff that right in the middle, and then I'm going to put the succulent in. And it sits so nicely, you don't even have to glue it. I'm going to take my little felt rounds. I'm going to put 4 on the bottom. I'm going to use hot glue to make sure they stay. And that's it. This could not be easier. Oh my gosh. And it's so cute. You could make it bigger if you wanted to. You could make it smaller, whatever you wanted. I think these little corks are going to be so cute, especially like to do succulents and things like that. I think it's perfect. Let me know what you think. Dollar Tree sticker hack. I've got this adorable little like hanging planter type thing. It was $2 at the thrift store. And then I've got that sticker. I'm going to use the word family, and I'm going to use my agave Waverly chalk paint. It's my favorite paint color of all the Waverly ones. And I did a couple coats all around except for deep inside, which you'll never see. And then I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum or linen white paint and I'm going to spray the top of it with my mister, and I'm just going to do like a white wash over the top. I love that combination of the white and the agave. I just think it's such a fresh look. So nice for spring and summer, and I love that look. And I'm just going to keep the texture going one direction on the front, and then on that back piece the other direction. I'm going to take off that word family. I'm going to cut them into individual letters. It's so much easier to place it. And then I'll just start in the middle and work my way out. Now that that's all on there, I'm going to take those little bubble stickers. I painted them all white, and I'm going to put a row along the bottom and along that top edge there above the word family. And then I'm going to take some elephant chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm going to dry brush over the whole thing very lightly, including the words, because I want it to look a little bit more worn, but still it's got the bright color, which I really like, even though it's muted down just a little bit. I love the layering of the paint. It just gives it so much more dimension. And then I'm going to take a wet paper towel and wipe off some of the excess over the word. I want to leave some there, but I want to be able to see the word nice and clear. I'm going to put Mod Podge over the entire thing, and then I'm going to put some floral foam on the inside. I decided not to glue it in because I don't think it needs it. The weight of the flowers will hold it nicely. And then I got these gorgeous peonies on Amazon. They are stunning. I'm going to cut some pieces off of those, and I'm just going to stick them right in the floral foam. And literally, that's all there is to this one. It is so beautiful in person. I hope it comes across on the screen, but I absolutely love this one. The colors, I love the pink peonies against that kind of like agave turquoise color. And then I took a little piece of twine, put it through the hole in the back, and just tied for a hanger. And that's all. I love this one. I hope you guys love it too.
And now, there's something in the air, and a sparkly shimmer on our skin, restoring everything.
For this Dollar Tree sticker hack, I've got this little $2 candlestick holder or candle holder that I got at the thrift store, and I'm going to use those bubble stickers and some off-white paint by Amy Howard at Home, and then I'm going to clean it with the crud cutter, of course. And I'm just going to paint this whole thing. It took about 3 coats to really get it the way I wanted, where you didn't see quite as much of the color underneath. And I just love that nice, crisp, beautiful look. I'm going to take those bubble stickers that I painted white, and I'm just going to put them around the bottom, and I'm going to leave a little space between each one because I want it to have like a different look. I don't want it to be like a solid circle of that. And you'll see them all on here in just a second. And I did use the hot glue, of course. See what I mean? And I am going to touch that up and make sure it's really white. Got this little foam ball I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to use my putty knife and just slice it right in half. I'm going to hot glue it to the very top of that candle holder. I'm not going to use it as a candle holder. This is going to be a floral arrangement. I think it's just going to be so pretty. I'm going to use some Dollar Tree peonies and some off-white flowers that I also got. I'm not sure what kind they are. I already cut off the tag. And then I've also got this boxwood, or I think it's eucalyptus, from Amazon. And I'm just going to start cutting little pieces and put them all the way around the foam. And then I will add the flowers, and that's it. It's so pretty. Let me know what you think.
And now there's something in the air, and a sparkly shimmer on our skin.
Take one of the foam core boards, and I'm going to use a mat and my rotary cutter, and then also some chalk paint, and also these gorgeous peonies, I believe, from Dollar Tree, and some other flowers I got on clearance at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to measure 2 inches. I'm going to make wood planks, or faux wood planks, measure 2 inches across for each one of them, and then I need them to be 12 inches long. So I'm just going to use the rotary cutter now that I've made the lines, and I'll go over them very carefully a couple times until I get through the foam core. It's actually very easy to cut. There they are. And then I'm just going to space them using a piece of a little tumbling tower block. And then I made a couple as the crossbars. And then I'm going to measure with my square. I want one piece that goes diagonally across. So I'm going to measure that. And there it is. I just cut it out the same way I cut out the rest. And then I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. You can't tell because the pieces are white, but in person it gives it like more of a grain, if you will. I'm just going to hot glue all the pieces together using those spacers. And then I'll also hot glue that little crossbar. You see how I cut that one? It's wider because it's a diagonal. And I'm just going to hot glue that piece right on there and make sure that it's positioned exactly where I want it. So now I'm going to turn over the foam core. I'm going to take a piece of rope and I'm just going to hot glue it down, and then hot glue a piece of masking tape over the top, and that holds it very secure. This is so light, you guys. And if you notice all the little bends in it, I did kind of bend them carefully because otherwise it kind of bows. It'll like make a curve. And when you do that, it makes it lay flat. And so you can do that at any point that you want. I'm going to take those gorgeous flowers, just going to cut them down with my little snips. And then I'm going to take some elephant paint by Waverly with a rough brush, and I'm just going to super carefully dry brush around all of the edges and sides of things so it looks like it's been outside and it's worn. And then I'm going to take the greenery and I'm just going to hot glue that right in a couple little places. I'm going to position the flowers, and this is turning out so pretty. It just looks like one of those fence pieces you see where flowers kind of snuck through the little slats, and I am loving it. So cute. And I'm just going to secure some of those stems on the back with hot glue and more of the masking tape. You'll have to let me know if this is something you would like to try. I just think it's beautiful. And when you're done, it actually looks like wood, but it's so light. Let me know what you think.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on.
For this foam core board hack, I'm just going to take a piece. I've got this Dollar Tree little tray, wooden tray, and then I've got this Dollar Tree vinyl, and I've got some scrapbook paper that I'm pretty sure I got at Hobby Lobby. I've got these beautiful flowers that I picked up at Pop Shelf when I was out of town. Unfortunately, we don't have one. So I'm going to take the foam board. I'm just going to use a couple different shaped houses that I have in my decor. I'm just going to trace one of the taller one and two of the smaller ones with the chimney. And I want those to be in opposite directions. That's why I folded it over. I'm going to take my rotary cutter and my mat, and I'm just going to do the same kind of cutting and cut out these little houses. Very easy to do. I'm going to take the tag off of the tray. I'm going to paint it with my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, the entire thing. Just one nice coat. Then I'm going to take some scrapbook paper, the green one. I'm going to trace the one large house. I'm going to use my Aleene's tacky glue, and I'm going to put a piece on each side. Since you'll be able to see both sides, I want to make sure that it looks good on both sides. And I'm just going to take a scissors and trim off the edges. You don't want to sand these. The foam board kind of would come apart. Then I've got this other adorable scrapbook paper. I'll do the other house, and then I'm going to use the vinyl from Dollar Tree for one of the houses with the chimney. Cut a piece, and then I start at the bottom. I usually like to reveal a little bit of it and then kind of pull the backing up as I smooth it out, and that works out really well. So now I've got all 3 of my houses done. I'm going to take the elephant chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm going to distress just very lightly around all of the edges of the little wood tray. Once that's done, I'm going to do a heavier distressing around the little houses because I want the foam cord to be covered more with that. And then you can see I let a little bit bleed over, and I think it looks really cute. I've got some floral foam that was just from something, and I cut it up, and I'm just going to hot glue it right to the bottom of the little tray. I'm going to cut up some of those flowers from Pop Shelf and the greenery, and I'm just going to start putting them in just the way that I like it. This is just a matter of what your taste is, your style, whatever you like. And then I'm going to put 2 of those beautiful white flowers and 1 of those really pretty coral colored peonies that I have, just to give it a little contrast and tie everything together. I felt like the houses were a little plain, so I took this cute little lace ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to make 2 little bows using the awareness bow method, where you just pinch the center after you make an awareness bow. I'm going to use a little bit of jute twine to tie them right in the middle, and then I'm going to use another burlap lace from Dollar Tree across the middle house, and I love how it turned out. Let me know what you think.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on.
For this foam core board hack, I've got a piece of foam board, got some little rabbits with gingham pattern on them from Dollar Tree, and these really cute green gingham napkins from Pop Shelf. I'm going to measure out what will become 2 tags, and I'm just deciding, what size I want them to be. You could make them any size that you want. Once I have that all mapped out, I'm going to take the rotary cutter. I'm just going to cut those 2 pieces. Now that I have the 2 pieces, I'm going to find my center, and then just a little bit beyond each side of the center, and I'm just going to draw a line that's angled, and that's what's going to create the top of my tags. And I'll do the same thing to both of them, but I'll cut this one first and use it as a template for the second one, so they'll come out the same exact way. These are going to be pretty small tags. I mean, they're not teeny ones, but they're not huge either, and I kind of like this. I don't have a lot of space, and so I need to sometimes do things that aren't quite so large. I'm going to use my Crocodile, which is in my Amazon store, and it is so easy to use, especially like if you have arthritis, this is just a breeze. I'm going to make 2 holes, 1 each on the top of the tags. Now I'm going to take this napkin, and it's 2-ply, which means I need to remove 1, and I'm just going to use the part that has the gingham pattern with some Mod Podge, and I'll just do it in sections. So I've got it exactly where I want it. I'm going to start putting a little bit, just a light coat of Mod Podge, and just put down that first section, and then I'll peel back the rest and slowly do the rest. I had misplaced my brayer, so I'm just being really careful with my hands and doing this. Normally I like to use my brayer and some saran wrap so that I don't get any wrinkles or bubbles. I did get a little bit, but I'm okay with that. It's actually just so cute, and part of it's going to be covered anyway. I'm only going to do one side because you won't see the back. While it's wet, I'm going to super carefully rip around the edges because I don't want to use sandpaper on this, or I could have just used the scissors and wait till it was dry, but it worked out just fine. Now I'm going to take some scrapbook paper, and I'm just going to cut out the other tag, and I'm going to use my Aleene's tacky glue and attach it, and then I put some paint around the edges, which I'll show you in a second, and I'm also going to put 2 bunnies on the green gingham one. The ribbons on the bunnies were pink, and I used a purple marker to make them purple so that they would match with the other scrapbook paper, and I did use the fern colored Waverly chalk paint to do the edges and kind of just overlapping a little bit to the front. So just hot gluing those bunnies right on there, and then I'm going to hot glue these 2 together, and I'm going to use a piece of rope as a way to hang it and put the knot in the front, and I think they came out so cute. Let me know what you think.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on. I put my...
For this foam core board hack, I've got my foam core, and I've got 2 of these little skewers from the Dollar Tree and a wooden bunny from the Dollar Tree, the vinyl and scrapbook paper again. And what I'm going to do is take my little bunny, I'm just going to trace 1 out, and then I'm going to use the curve on the bottom to start an egg shape, and then I'll go at the top with a narrower round and connect the 2 areas. I'm going to use an X-Acto knife to cut this out because I need to be able to curve around. So it takes several passes to get it through, but it's really not a big deal. It did not take me more than maybe maybe 30 seconds to a minute at the longest. So I'm going to cut out both pieces, and then I'm going to use scrapbook paper. I'm going to do both sides of this. So I'm going to use 2 pieces of the scrapbook paper, the green one, and I'll cut those out. And then I'm going to take the green scrapbook paper and I'm going to trace another bunny on the little lavender scrapbook paper. And then once that's done, I'm going to go back in and about 1/4 of an inch smaller, I'm going to recreate that shape inside and then cut 2 of those out. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to be layering some scrapbook paper. Now, my friend Linda from Faith Chick 777's DIY by Design does this really cool technique where she takes a little scissor blade and she roughs up the edges of her scrapbook paper to make it look more distressed. So that's what I'm going to do. You just really slowly go around all the edges with your scissor blade and literally makes it look so cool. So that's what I'm going to do to all 4 of those pieces. Then I'm going to use my Aleene's tacky glue and attach the green scrapbook paper to the actual foam core bunny on both sides. And once I do that, I'm going to add the lavender scrapbook paper right over the top of that so you can see the edges of the other scrapbook paper still showing. And I just love that layered look. I think it adds so much dimension and much more interesting to look at. I'm going to do the egg in the vinyl from Dollar Tree. So I just cut a piece that was about the right size, and I'm going to end up doing 2 of those. And I'll just lace them on and slowly pull the backing out. And then I will take my scissors and I will cut all the way around that. And that comes out so cute. And I will do that to both sides. Once they're done, I felt like the edges needed something, so I took these little strands from a mop head from Dollar Tree. I'm going to hot glue them all the way around. I'm going to poke some skewers right into the bottom of each one, which you will see here in just a moment. And they go right in, by the way. Just put your hand there carefully so that you don't pop through the top. Just try to hold it as straight as you can. And then I'm going to take my little nip and I'm just going to make sure that the bottom is pointy. And you know what? This is awesome. You can stick it in a planter. You can pop it into anything. And it's such a cute little accent. I love it. So easy.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on.
I found this wooden carrot at the Dollar Tree in the Crafter Square. I've also got this contact paper from the Dollar Tree and this cute little like bee looking pinwheel flower. Got this cool ribbon. I'm going to cut out a piece of that contact paper that would just fit over the whole carrot, and I'll start at the top and then I'll slowly pull the backing away from underneath while I'm using my other hand to kind of flatten it out, and that helps to avoid bubbles and wrinkles. I'm going to use my brayer over the top. I get that on Amazon, super good price there. If you're interested, you can check out my Amazon store. And then I'm going to use a nail file to go around the edges and just make very nice clean cut of that paper. I've got that pinwheel flower and I just took an X-Acto knife and cut out the bee looking fabric or plastic, and I'm going to use this green cool ribbon. I don't know what this ribbon is, but I love it. And I'm going to glue it to this flower petal, and now you see that it looks like it's like greenery. And then I'm going to make 3 of those, and I'm going to take some white acrylic paint and I'm just going to paint that black stuff white. And now I've got the carrot. I'm going to take some rope from Walmart and I'm just going to hot glue it all the way around the carrot and all the way around those 3 petals. And that keeps this looking rustic. I'm going to poke a hole back through the 2 holes that were already in the wooden carrot that I can put a hanger. And then I'm going to hot glue to the back with the white side facing front those 3 petals. And now they have become greenery on the carrot. Now I've just added some extra hot glue on the back and a piece of masking tape. I'm going to take this greenery that I also got on Amazon, and then I've got a ribbon made out of green burlap, and I'm just going to measure how long I want it to be, and I'm going to fold it over like 6 times and cut it. And then I'm going to fold the whole thing in half, and I'm going to cut a little slit on each side, and then I'm going to take some jute and tie the middle in a very tight knot, and then I'll trim off the excess jute. And now what I'm going to do is just pull out each of those little loops and kind of fluff my ribbon. And that's just a super, super easy way to make a ribbon. For the tail, I'm just going to measure out a piece that's long enough. And I'm going to cut it, I'm going to fold it in half and then dovetail the ends. And then I'm going to hot glue the ribbon on top of right where the greenery meets the carrot. And I'm going to fold that tail and put it underneath with hot glue. And then I'm going to make a little banner looking fold down the tail. I'm going to do the same thing with a couple other ribbons that I used to do smaller versions of that same ribbon. And then I made 2 shoestring bows with these cute little ribbons I had. And I just hot glue them right to the center. Now I'm going to
kind of trim that little greenery just to make little wispy pieces, hot glue them all the way around that top greenery. And I love how this turned out. It is such an adorable Easter spring carrot. I love it. Let me know what you think. This orange burlap from Dollar Tree, and I've also got this orange yarn from Dollar Tree. And then I have these really cool picks that I got off Amazon, some paper towel roll inserts. And I'm going to cut the paper towels like to a point at the end, but I'm going to keep them, round. And I'm going to do 2 of the large ones, and then I'm going to take the pieces I cut off and make 2 smaller pieces with those. So I'm going to take the burlap and I'm going to start gluing it around and kind of pulling it tight as it gets to the bottom to a point, and I'm going to make little carrots with these, and they're just going to look so cute and natural looking. So with the littler ones though, I'm going to use the yarn. So I'll make 3 with the burlap, 3 of these little ones with the yarn. So first glue the top together with some hot glue, and then it leaves that little point, and I'll just start wrapping the yarn. Now this takes a little bit longer because obviously it's yarn, but I didn't put the glue everywhere. I just wrapped around maybe every 5-10 times, and then I added a drop of glue, went all the way to the bottom, and if I found when I got to the bottom, if there were like any spaces that weren't covered, I just randomly wrapped around and then got to those spots, put a little hot glue and filled them in. And that way it wasn't like perfectly wrapped. It looked a little bit more uneven, if you will. And I wanted that. On the ones made out of burlap, I'm going to take some yarn and just kind of wrap it around with a lot of space between them. What I'm trying to do is tie the 2 carrots together. So I'll just go all the way around and down to the end, glue it and snip. I'll do that for all 3 of the larger carrots. And then when I get to the small carrots, I'm going to pull off a little bit of that burlap, and I'm going to do the same thing with it that I did to the large carrots, and I'll do that to the small ones and just kind of wrap it around with spaces. And I did that to all 3 of the little ones. So now my carrots are done. I'm going to take my greenery picks from Amazon, and I'm just going to cut where I think I need to for the little ones. And then I'll be able to use most of a large one for the bigger carrots. I just need to cut the ends off a little bit with my snips. And you'll see I just stick it right in that opening at the top from the paper towel holder. And look at that. They look so cute. And then, like I said, I'll put the bigger pieces into the larger carrots. I love how this turned out. Talk about some rustic, adorable little carrots. So easy to make, barely cost anything, and they are the cutest. For this next DIY, I've got my old container from some French fried onions, probably around Thanksgiving time. Got some craft sticks, the medium size. I'm going to use my miter shears, and I'm going to first take the craft sticks and see how long I need them to be to go all the way around this container, and then I will use the first one that I cut and draw lines on the rest of them, and then use my miter shears to cut them all down. I'm going to hot glue in like 3 spots, and I'm just going to start lining them, and I'll use the curved side at the top. And it's going to look like a little crate at the end. That's my goal here. And when I got to the very end on the side there, I had to cut a little bit of smaller piece, narrow down the popsicle stick, and that was fine. And then I'm going to take 2 smaller ones of like the traditional popsicle stick size, and I'm going to cut off the 2 ends with scissors. I just want you to see that you could do that without fancy tools. And then I'm going to paint the whole crate and the little 4 cross pieces with the Stolen Linen White chalk paint. Now once that's all done, I'm going to take a little foam brush and I'm going to dry brush some antique wax from Waverly. I'm just going to put some on my brush, wipe most of it off, barely dab around the top and the bottom, and then I'm going to put very lightly go on each of the little spaces, like right where they touch, and then on the 4 crossbars. I just want this to look like a dirty old crate. I'm going to hot glue those little side pieces on the front and the back. This is such an easy way to make a little crate. And also this way I don't have to worry about it caving in on itself. I can just do it with hot glue, and because that container's in there to hold it together. So I'm going to take a little piece of a drop cloth. I cut it into like a rectangle, and I've got a brown dot marker from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to write carrots, 5 cents on there. And it's hard to write on drop cloth, so you just take your time. I used the fine end of this to do the actual letters, and then I went back with the other end of the pen, which is broader, and that way I could fill it in a little bit more. And you don't have to have fancy writing for this. This actually looks better when you don't. So I wasn't trying to be perfect. And there you see I filled them in a little. And then there's where I'm going to do the 5 cents. The key here is not to press too hard. Now I'm going to distress around the edges the same way that I did on that little crate, but just around the edges. And then I'm going to fray a little bit of the edges too. And I'm just going to use my Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, and I'm going to attach it right to my little crate. This is such a cute little rustic container. And we'll be able to put little carrots in there, so that is going to be fun. I'm going to put a plastic bag inside so I don't have to fill the whole thing with my moss, but I will fill the top of it with the moss. And that's it. Talk about an easy, cute DIY. Love this DIY. I've got a frame from the Dollar Tree, just a little 4x6. I've got some more of that orange burlap. I've got a buffalo check ribbon, some scrapbook paper, and a really cute metal button. So I'm going to take the inside out of the frame. I already removed the glass because I don't need it. And I'm just going to take that inside paper and draw on the back of the scrapbook paper so I can trace that exact size that I need, and then I will cut that out. I try to make my lines on the back of scrapbook paper so I don't have to worry about cutting them off. And now I'm just going to stick it right in there. I didn't even glue it. I'm going to take a little teeny piece of my drop cloth, and I'm going to act like I'm staining it with the linen white Rust-Oleum chalk paint. I want to basically like whitewash it. So I'm just putting a very little bit on my cloth and wiping it around, and I do the same thing on the back and the sides. Now I'm going to cut the orange burlap into the shape of a carrot. So basically it's like a triangle. And I'm going to trim it down so it will fit. And then I'm going to distress it with the antique wax. Just put a little bit, on my cloth and just kind of dirty it up. I'm going to take a little piece of the buffalo check ribbon. I've already kind of measured it against that picture frame. And I'm just going to glue the two ends together and make like a loop. I'm going to pinch in the middle and then hot glue in the middle so that it stays. This is going to create like a little middle section. I'm going to put some hot glue in there, and that's where I'm going to put the button. And I'm going to just kind of fluff my little bow and just get that button right in there where that little piece that juts out on the back of it is. That's where it's going to sit. Isn't that cute? And then I'm going to take my Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, and I'm just going to put the glue underneath the little burlap carrot. And then I'm going to take greenery, and I'm just going to hot glue pieces coming out of the top of the carrot. And I'm going to make it kind of full. I really want this to be very three-dimensional. I'm going to hot glue the bow on, and then I thought, I feel like it needs more. I could have stopped right here. So I added a little bit of that white paint to the button and then wiped off most of it just to kind of give it that same whitewash. And then I got out my rub and buff, which I love that stuff, and I put a little bit on the bow, and then I decided to also put it on the frame because I feel like it just gave it a little more character. So I didn't put very much at all, and you don't even have to do that if you don't want to. I love how this turned out. And then I decided to make the greenery just a teeny bit dirty because I thought if the carrot's dirty, definitely the greenery would be. I hope you love this one. I thought it was super easy and fun.
Adorable little flower bucket, and then I've got some flowers. I think they're dahlias, and look at this little earmuff with the bunnies. I had a great idea for that. We're going to use that. And then I've also got these little styrofoam balls that I'm going to cut in half and use for this craft. I started using my X-Acto knife, and then I actually ended up getting a really small ruler and just like slicing it right down the middle. I'm going to put some hot glue on the flatter side of it and stick one half in the bucket, and then I cut another one in half. I'm going to put the rounded side on that one and put that on top of it. I'm going to snip the dahlias a little bit smaller, and then I'll just stick them into the styrofoam. And I did realize that the little styrofoam is still kind of moving, so I take a plastic bag and I just like stuff it in all around that circular piece, and that actually fixes the whole thing. And you can't see it, I just pushed it way down in there. It's amazing what you can do with plastic bags, and we all have so many, don't we? I end up using 5 of those dahlias. And then I've got this, I think this is boxwood. I always get boxwood and eucalyptus mixed up, so somebody tell me please in the comments. But I cut up 3 pieces and I just kind of put them in there, and I think they're beautiful. I'm going to take the little ear muffs and I'm going to use my tin snips, and I've got those in my Amazon store if you're interested. They really are nice for cutting through like thicker things. And then I'll just snip off any pointy edges. I'm going to cut a little piece of the fur on the face side because I'm not going to use the face side. And I'm going to hot glue that right to that opening that I created when I cut off the headband part. And now you can't even tell that it was ever part of a headband. I've got a cute little white pom-pom, and I've got these little teeny ones, the pink ones I'm going to use. And I'm going to make the back side of the bunny so it's like his little butt with the tail and then his little paws. And I've got a skewer stick. I'm going to stab it right in there and then stick this right into the styrofoam. And it looks like a bunny just dove in. You guys, isn't this cute? And so easy. Let me know what you think. For this whimsical DIY, I'm going to take some scrap fabric I had, a piece from a dish towel, and a scarf from the Dollar Tree. And then I've got this cardboard I had laying around, and I'm going to draw what looks like an egg, and I'm going to make it look better and then I'll cut it out, and then I'll use it to trace another one, and then I'm going to make a bigger one. So I'll have 2 small ones and 1 large one. There's a bend in the larger one, so I'm going to put 2 pieces of cardboard on the back with some hot glue just to keep it from bending. Now I'm going to cut out the fabric with enough to wrap around the sides if I need, and I've got some polyfill. And I'm going to hot glue it to the front of all 3 eggs. You can just see I'm not putting like a lot. I just want it to be slightly raised. Then I'm going to take, in this case, the piece from the scarf from Dollar Tree. I'm going to wrap it around, and I'm going to hot glue it all the way around the back and just kind of pull it tight so that it looks from the front like a plush kind of a thing, even though the back will just be the cardboard. And there it is. And that's my large egg. I'm going to do the same thing with the 2 smaller ones. Aren't they cute? And then I'm going to take some craft paper and hot glue it to the back and trim it. And that will be the way I finish them off. I'm also going to take this, it's like this kind of plastic poly rope you can get at the automotive section at Dollar Tree, with my Beacon fabric tack glue. And I'm just going to hot glue that to each of the eggs, like making a smile for the mouth. Now that I've got all 3, I'm going to take some felt. I wish I had white, but I didn't. So I cut them into the shape of eyes. I put it on some tape, and then I just painted it with my white acrylic paint, and that worked. And then I'm going to take the cardboard again, and I've got my crocodile. It makes a really nice large hole. I'm going to punch out 6 of those, and I'm going to color them black with my marker and then hot glue them right on. And that'll be like the pupils of the eyes. I hope that makes sense. I'm just going to make sure that the eyes are glued together really well. Just putting a teeny bit of glue and then putting on those little baby eyeballs. Then I'm going to take them and I'm going to hot glue them to each of the eggs. And this is just turning out to be so whimsical and so cute. I saw this somewhere on Pinterest. They were like egg sisters or whatever. I thought they were adorable. I've got this cute plaid ribbon for Easter, and I'm just going to dovetail the ends. And I'm going to attach them to the very top of each egg, but I'll twist the middle so it looks like it has a little center point there. And then I'll hot glue it on right where I twisted it and hold it down till it stays. Then I've got these little flowers that were on a lei from Dollar Tree. I put 2 on each and then go back and get some little pom-poms, some pink ones. Then I'm going to hot glue one side of each of those smaller eggs to the middle larger egg. And these are just so cute. I love them. They're adorable. I'm going to take another piece of that ribbon. I'm just going to put it on the back with some hot glue and then put some tape across with more hot glue and secure it. These are very light, so this will work perfect for a hanger. Let me know what you think. I just think these are as cute as can be. For this DIY, I'm going to take this little crate from the Dollar Tree. I often use these to make little book stacks, but this time I'm going to use it actually as a crate. I'm going to take my Antique Wax by Waverly, and I'm going to paint the bottom and the two smaller sides, and then I'll wipe off any excess so it looks like a stain. Now I'm going to paint the two other sides and the inside with my white Rust-Oleum, well, it's linen white chalk paint. I'm going to take these two bunnies I got at Dollar Tree. I sanded around the edges because they were really kind of splintery, and I'm just kind of looking at how they will look if I put them on the sides. I'm going to paint the whole bunny front and back white to start with. Then I'm going to take the Antique Wax and I'm going to paint around the edges. I'm going to sand down the front a little bit to make it smooth and then wipe away any of the sanding dust. I'm going to take this little spackle container and draw a half circle because I want this to look like the back of a bunny, and I'm going to take the Antique Wax and just kind of go over that line that I drew and create the little bunny butt, the definition for that. I'll do that to both of these. And then I decided to turn them over and use the Antique Wax on the back as well. And I'm going to take a little nail file to sand on that little bunny butt line and just kind of mute it a little bit. I'm going to put Mod Podge all over all the pieces. And then on the short sides or the small sides, I'm going to use a combination of E6000 and hot glue. And I'm going to put the bunnies right on there. It'll be almost like little bookends for the crate, if you will. And I did distress in those little lines on the crate as well with the Antique Wax. Now I'm going to take a yellow pom-pom and put one on each side. I ran out of the little white ones, so I had to use the yellow. And take a bag, a plastic bag, and just stuff it in there so I don't have to fill up the whole thing. I'm going to take some of this styrofoam, they're balls that I had cut in half, and I'm just going to put the flat sides glued into the bag. And then I'm going to take these gorgeous flowers from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut off some little pieces, and I'm going to have one hanging over between the bunny ears on each side. So there'll be two there and then one in the middle. And then I've got these dahlias, and I'm just going to cut some of those and put them in there. And I'm going to add some extra leaves that I had also cut off, just kind of fill up the little crate so it just looks like flowers are just spilling out, which I think is so pretty. This has got to be one of the easiest DIYs, and I just love how pretty it is. I'm going to use it as a centerpiece on our table. Let me know what you think. For this adorable and whimsical wreath, I'm going to take this little grapevine wreath that I got at the Dollar Tree. It might actually be bamboo. I've got this piece left over of this decorative mesh. And then I found these headbands. They're so cute with the little bunnies on springs. And so I grabbed a couple of them, and I'm just going to pull off the bunnies, and then I'm going to snip off that spring because I don't need it. But first, before I start all this, I'm going to take a little piece of twine and stick it under the twine that's already on there, tie a knot and glue it down, and that will be my hanger, and now I don't have to worry about that. I'm going to take this decorative mesh, and I'm just going to attach it to one of those pieces of twine again, and I'm going to wrap it around, but leaving spaces so that you can still see the wood part of the wreath, because I want it to still have that look as well as the pretty colorful decorative mesh. And you'll see what I'm doing here in just a second. I'm also going to make sure that the really shiny, glittery side is facing up. So I just kind of twist it as it goes around, leave a little gap, and do the same thing and make sure the shiny side is up. And I'm going to go all the way around. And there it is. And I'm just going to snip off the excess and tie that down with some more twine. And that will be that. And I'll put a little drop of hot glue just to make sure it stays secure. You could use zip ties if you wanted to do this as well. So I'm going to place the bunnies where I think I want them to go and just look at that. Since I had two purple ones and then a pink and a blue one, I decided to put the purple ones on those two sides and then put the other one on the top and the bottom. I'm going to take my snips and just break off that little spring and hot glue the bunnies right onto the wreath. This is such an easy DIY. You could do this with your grandkids or kids, and I think it would be super fun and they'd feel like they really accomplished something. Now that I've got all four of the bunnies on, I felt like it looked a little plain. And I had these leftover Easter eggs from Dollar Tree that I found in my stash, always trying to use my stash. And I realized I was probably never going to use them, so I just went ahead and hot glued them on in between each bunny, so I used 4 of them, and now they're gone. I got to use up more stash. I'm so happy. And like I said, this is just a cutesy, fun, whimsical wreath, not high-end, fancy kind of thing, just something super cute. I've got some greenery that I got on Amazon, and I can never remember if these are eucalyptus or boxwood, but I'm going to put one in between every piece and just kind of dress up the wreath a little bit. I hope you like it. Florals from Dollar Tree, and then I also have this awesome decal that was made by my friend Lee and Epp from DIY Beauty on Purpose, and then an 8x10 frame from the Dollar Tree. What I'm going to do is take the frame apart, just take all the pieces out completely. I'm going to look at the glass and see where I might want to place my decal, and then I'm going to set that aside and I'm going to work on the frame. I have this drop cloth and it made me think of like the shroud that Jesus' body was wrapped in, so I decided to cut some strips. So you just kind of cut a little bit at the top and then rip, and I did that to quite a few of them. So there we go. And then I want to paint the frame so that if you see through it, you can't tell it's gold. So I got the warm buff from Apple Barrel, and look how close it is to the color of the drop cloth. First, I'm going to put a little Mod Podge on there so that the paint will stick. And I'm going to use my heat tool from Amazon to dry that because I have no patience. I'm just going to go ahead and paint the frame front and back. And that's perfect, so if there's any gaps in the drop cloth, that will look good then. So now I'm just going to take my little snips and pull out those little pieces that hold the glass in. Now I'm going to figure out how big the pieces I need for each of the corners. So I cut that size out. I used my Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, which is perfect for this. And I'm just going to go ahead, glue that around the corner and figure out how long I need it to be. I'm going to cut a little like kind of upside down V there so that it won't be too much fabric in the corner. And then I'll just tack that down with a little more glue. And I'm going to do all 4 corners, and then I will work on the rest of the frame. Next, I'm going to figure out what size piece I need for each of the sides, you know, the little pieces. I'm just going to cut a whole bunch of them using the first one that I cut kind of as template. And then I'm just going to start laying down the glue and putting them on the top, and I'll do them all in a row, and then I will turn it over and I'll start gluing the back. And that kind of makes it go faster, almost like a little bit of an assembly line. Turn it over, add some glue to the back, and then I'll just start pushing the edges down right there. Super easy, and it just works really well, and that glue is perfect for this. And I'm trying to leave a little gap so that the glass will go back inside there. And so there's one side, and now there's all the sides. And now I've got my greenery. I'm just going to snip some little pieces off. What I want to do is in the top left and the bottom right corner, I just want to make a little arrangement with the lavender, the greenery, and those little yellow flowers. I'm just going to hot glue them in place, and I think that's going to be really beautiful. Then I had this idea to take a little piece of the drop cloth, cut some kind of wavy pattern on the top, and roll it up, glue it to itself, and then make like little drop cloth flowers, and they'll sit right in the center where those 2 pieces meet so you can't see the hot glue. And I did that to the top corner and the bottom corner, and I think it's actually pretty cute. Next, I'm going to set my piece of glass up on these 2 little containers, and I'm going to use my glass cleaner and just get it nice and clean. I'm going to use my little scraper tool to burnish, make sure that the decal is really on there good so that when I pull off the backing, it will be ready to transfer. Then there's the transfer tape that Leonette provided. She did a great job, by the way. Obviously, I know how to do these things, and so it was just kind of fun to get one I didn't have to do. So now I'm laying it down in the center of the glass, and I'm burnishing it again. And then I'm just going to pull up that transfer paper, and look, there it is. Isn't that beautiful? I thought that was the cutest little transfer too. I absolutely love it. And so now I'm just going to put it face down inside the frame, and then I'm going to add some of that glue again to kind of the corners and the middles and push it in. And then I'm going to take some little clamps I have from the Dollar Tree and put them on each of the 4 sides to hold it in place. I love this picture so much. It might be my favorite from this video. You'll definitely have to tell me what you think. incredibly easy. I ordered these wooden eggs off of Amazon, and I'm just painting them white using some painter's tape to hold them in place while I paint them, and I used primer to do it. And then I'm just drying them off, and I'm going to take some black paint and a toothbrush, and I'm just going to spray them to get that speckled look. And it comes out so cool, but let me tell you, it is so messy. You do need a firm bristled type of a brush. And there you can see the mess that I made all over my hands and the table, but it cleans up so easily. It's worth it. I printed out on my Cricut a bunch of little words that I thought really fit with Easter, and I used a font that kind of looks like Rae Dunn, and I'm just putting them on each of the eggs, and I'm burnishing them on so that the little transfers will work. You could use Dollar Tree stickers, you could write this, whatever you want. It's so easy. You don't have to have a Cricut to do this one. And look how adorable this egg turns out. And then, I did all the rest of them too. I love this so much. And then I've got this little tag from the Dollar Tree, and then I printed out something else on my Cricut that says "He is risen" in that same font. And I'm just going to go ahead and transfer it right on there. Again, you can use stickers, you could write this, whatever you want to do. And it's adorable. I have this basket, and I put some greenery in it and a little one of those microfiber little mop things from the Dollar Tree. And I just glued on the tag to the very front. I arranged the little eggs in there. Aren't they cute? And then I just took some greenery and I kind of cut it off the pick and just arranged it with some twine in the middle. Actually, I think that's nautical rope. And then I'm going to put a little lavender in there and hot glue it. And I'm just going to wrap it all up. And that's what's going to cover the hole on my tag, because I couldn't think of anything else to do. And I thought this was really pretty. And so that's what I did. Like I said, this one is so easy and it comes out beautiful. I love it. If it's not my favorite, it's my second favorite. And there's my little kind of bow looking thing, and I'm just going to glue it right to the top there with some hot glue. And then I'm going to clamp it so the whole thing stays. Let me know what you think of this one. Super easy DIY. I'm using Jenga blocks, or actually tumbling tower blocks, and some twine from the Dollar Tree and some white chalk paint. I'm just going to paint all of the blocks, put them on some painter's tape, and do all the sides, dry them off. And I'm not going to show you all of that because it takes forever. Anyway, there they are. They're all painted, and then I'm going to add some Mod Podge to them. And then I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to start writing words that are associated with Easter from a spiritual standpoint. And so I write that on all of them, just on one side. And then I'm going to take a very fine tip art brush and some black acrylic apple barrel paint. And I'm going to just go over what I wrote in pencil. And you really need a fine point brush for this, otherwise it's almost impossible. And so I do that with all of them. And as soon as that's done, I'm going to take my twine. I'm going to add some beads to the end. And then I'm going to lay it out. And I'm going to start hot gluing the little blocks on to the twine. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but I'm going to do it to all of them, and then add a bead in between each one and beads at the end, and then make a little loop and a knot. And that's it, you guys. It's a beautiful Easter garland that you can add to, a greenery garland, or put it on a tray, or put it on a shelf. It's beautiful. This could not get any easier. I mean, seriously, it's so easy to do this, and I hope you love it too. Garland from Five Below. That was $5, and it's a Magnolia garland. I'm going to use these pics from Walmart. I think they were $2 and change, and they're just berries. And then I've got this floral tape from the Dollar Tree and floral wire from Hobby Lobby. And what I'm going to do is I need an 8-foot garland. I'm making this for my sister-in-law. And so these are each 6 feet. So I'm going to cut off 2 feet from one of them. And then I'm going to take my floral tape and take the ends, and I'm just going to wrap it around and attach them. And that's how I'm going to turn this into an 8-foot garland. This is my first time making my own garland. Obviously, I'm starting with this Magnolia base garland, but by adding the pics to it, it's like I'm creating my own garland, and I think this is the coolest thing, and I definitely want to do this again. I mean, just think, you can make it custom to whatever you like, as long as you just have something to start with, something very basic. And this $5 garland, oh my gosh, you can't beat that. So now I've got it attached. You can see how I'm doing it right here, and there it is. And then I'm going to take the picks. I'm going to cut off all the little pieces. My sister-in-law didn't want that part that had yellow, so I took that out. And I'm alternating kind of side to side with larger picks and smaller picks. And I'm going to use that floral tape, wrap it around, and just keep going down the entire 8-foot garland. Obviously, I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but I'm going to show you a couple of them, and then I'll show it to you at the end, because it's the same process over and over and over. And it's actually way easier than I would have ever imagined. And to think you could spend $70 to $100 and something for a really nice quality garland, and you could do this
Ready
yourself.
for more inspiration?
Here's
another video I think you'll really like. If you click on it, I will see you there. You are truly a blessing to me. Bye.
Gorgeous. And I did put a little hot glue on the end, but you didn't really need to because it's tape and it's sticky. But I was a little overkill, and that's what I did. This is so pretty. She wanted like a spring neutral kind of a garland, and this is perfect. And I think it'll carry into summer too. I think it'll be perfect for that. I love the magnolia leaves with the berries. It's a great combination. And here you can see I'm just getting a little further down the garland. And there it is. I just have a little piece of right there, and it looks like this for the whole 8 feet. And I forgot to film it, but I also added fairy lights that I got off of Amazon, and they look so nice. Guys, it's gorgeous. Please let me know what you think. DIY, I'm using this sign I got at the Dollar Tree, and it has some sparkles on it, so I'm sanding it off, and then I'm going to use my little handy dandy ladybug vacuum to clean it up, and I'll put a link down in the description. Super cheap and very helpful to have. And now I'm just wiping away all the dust and cleaning it off so that I can prepare to turn this into a really cute Easter sign. The first thing I'm going to do is use my Waverly Antique wax, and I'm going to stain the frame around the picture. Put the wax on, and then I wipe the excess away with a paper towel, and that gives me the look that I'm going for. I do end up changing this later, but at the time I didn't know I was going to, so hence the staining. I'm going to be sure and get the edges too, because you will see that from the side, and I want to make sure that it all looks like it was meant to be stained that color on the entire frame. I'm going to put some masking tape along the inside of the frame because I'm going to be painting the face of this picture, and I want to protect the frame that I just finished staining. I'm using the Waverly chalk paint in the color Celery. I love that color so much. I like it as a good base for this. I'm going to cover the whole thing with 2 coats, and that just does the job perfectly. I'm going to remove the tape, and I'm going to add a top coat of the Waverly wax in white, and it just blends so nice with that celery, and it's like sealing it because it's got that shimmer kind of slippery feeling to it, and I just love how the celery peeks through. Now, if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know I love these pop-up stickers. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to place them all the way around, starting in the corners, so I try to make them the same on each of the opposing sides. And once I get them on, I'm going to use that same Waverly white wax and cover them with several coats. And oh my gosh, it gets rid of the color that's on there, but it makes it look like there is like an embellishment on the frame. It was like it was always there. And I love that look so much. It's very farmhouse. I don't want just Easter eggs and bunnies and things like that for Easter, because Easter is all about the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So I used my Cricut and I designed a crown that I want to put on there, a crown of thorns. And then I love when we say on Easter, He is risen indeed. And I just love that idea for a sign. So it's right there to remind us. And I'm using this masking tape that I ordered on Amazon for transfer tape, and it's so much less expensive than the other kind, and it works really well, and it's not like overly sticky like the kind you have to rub on your pant leg first to make it less sticky. And now I'm just positioning them on there. I'm going to use a little bit of tape as a guide. Literally, you can do this any way you want. If you don't have a cutting machine, you can use the stickers from the Dollar Tree, rub-on transfers, you can write it, you can use carbon paper and print something out from the computer. So I just want to let you know there's so many options if you don't have a cutting machine. And I'm using gold vinyl, which I thought looked really good on this sign with the kind of blonde frame and then the green peeking through with also the wax on top of it. I just love it. It's kind of neutral, but it's also with the gold, it adds just a little punch. I decided to add a little bit of the gold metallic paint, just like a dry brush effect where I put a teeny bit on my brush, rub most of it off, and then just go around the edges. And I really love how that turned out. I hope you like this. It means a lot to me. DIY, I have a picture frame from the Dollar Tree, 8x10, and then I've got a little piece of cardboard that I'm going to use my Cricut just to kind of score out a shape of a bunny because, you know, freehanding it won't come out. It is nice. So I just ran it through and now I'm just going to cut it out. It didn't go all the way through the cardboard. I don't have the right blade for that. I'm going to take everything out of my frame, you know, the backing and the glass and so forth, so that I can start working on what I'm going to do to the frame. I decided to use my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, which I got from Amazon, to paint the frame. I'm just going to go around and paint it. I'm not trying to get like a very solid coverage because I will be distressing it. So I've done the whole entire front sides and the back. Now I'm going to take the inside portion that has the stand on it, and I'm going to figure out with some paint sticks that I also got at Amazon how many I need to actually fit across the whole thing and create some kind of faux shiplap planks. Now I'm going to tape them all together, and I used my square to make sure they were all even. That way when I put them in my little, you know, box miter saw, they'll stick together and I can cut them all at one time. You see how nicely that's happening? And then I'm just going to sand the ends, and I'm going to use my Aleene's Quick Dry Tacky Glue, which I'm really liking, by the way. I ordered that on Amazon as well. And I'm just going to glue each one of the planks, and they fit perfectly now on there. And all I have to do at the end is just sand around the edges just a teeny bit. I'm going to use my little Dollar Tree clamps to hold them in place. And there they are. Now I'm going to sand the entire surface with my little sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use some burnt umber acrylic paint from Apple Barrel and mix it with some water. And I'm going to use a little foam brush, and I'm just going to apply it across the whole thing and basically treat it like a stain. And I didn't even rub it off because it was just fine the way it was. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that Rust-Oleum white linen chalk paint, and I'm just going to dry brush across the top. Now I've got this cute piece of material from many years ago. I'm just going to cut a smaller piece, and I'm going to use my Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, which is great for fabric. I learned about this from my friend Linda at Faith Chick 777's DIY and Design, and I'll put her link down in the description box. And I got that on Amazon too. And I'm going to apply that to the bunny, and I'm going to put my fabric right on it. I'm going to take my brayer and I'm going to roll right over the top of that and make sure it's adhering really well. And I'll take some scissors and cut it out. And I'll use a blade for any little pieces I couldn't get with the scissors. Now I am going to take that white paint again, and I'm just going to go around the edges and make it bleed a little over onto the front. I'm going to hot glue the bunny right onto the middle of my planks, and then I'm going to take some Mod Podge. I'm going to use matte. I'm just going to do the wood planks. Now I didn't want to do it before the bunny was on because I didn't think the bunny would stick as well. And all I have to do now is put it in the frame. But I decided I still wanted to distress that frame. So I just take a nail file and go all the way around. You guys, this is so easy. It came out so cute, very rustic, and I really, really love it. One of the great things about this is you can use any fabric or scrapbook paper or napkins. If you like, you could paint it any color and just customize it to your decor. Let me know what you think down in the comments. So rustic about like ragdoll type of things, and I'm gonna make a kind of a ragdoll bunny. So I freehanded this one, that's why it's not so great. But anyway, I cut it out on a piece of cardboard. You know, I'm always so inspired by my friend Holly at Hot Humble Pie because she does so much with cardboard, so I thought I should give it more of a try. I'll leave her link down in the description box. You will love her. And then I'm using a piece of a drop cloth, and that gives it that kind of rag feel. I'm just going to trace the shape around it, and then I'm going to cut it out. And it's doubled over, by the way, because I do need two pieces. We're going to make it kind of a plushie. And then you see I cut around the lines a little because those are going to be sort of like my glue seams. I'm not going to sew this, but you most certainly can. I just didn't feel like it. I'm going to use this pillow stuffing I have right here, and I'm going to start gluing from the bottom because those are the wider, bigger pieces, and I think it'll make it a lot easier than starting with the skinny little ears. And so once I get enough of the bottom and the sides glued, I'm going to start stuffing very gently, just little pieces at a time, pushing around until I get it to the thickness that I want. And I'm not going for anything super thick, just a little stuffing. And now I'm going to add a little bit of that stuffing and just go little by little, glue a little more on the sides, add a little more stuffing, all the way up to the top. And then I'll slow down a little bit to show you how I do the ears. Now for the ears, I'm going to pull out some little pieces of the stuffing and kind of roll them a little bit so that the bottom is a little wider than the top. That's kind of how the ears are shaped. And then I'm going to stuff it in. I only glued one side so far of that one ear, and I'm going to push it in, and then I will glue down the other side. And I'll repeat the same thing on the other ear and make sure that little spot in between the two ears is sealed as well. And I really do shove that stuffing in there so I can get to the two ends, otherwise you'll glue the stuffing. And there it is. And now I'm going to take my little baby scissors and I'm just going to cut little teeny slits around the side so that it frays. I took another piece of that scrap material that I'd cut off and I'm creating a little apron. And so it wasn't big enough to just do it outright. So I took two pieces and I'm just kind of gluing down the seams in the middle. You see the little straps around the side, and where that seam is, that's going to be kind of right where the bunny's tummy meets in the middle. I'm going to glue that down, and once I have that glued down except for the very top, which will have an opening, it's almost like a front pocket even though it looks like an apron, then I'm just going to tie the little straps in the back into a knot, and I'll just tack those down with a little teeny bit of hot glue so they don't flop around. Now I've got these buttons from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to find one that I like. I narrowed it down to 3, and then I finally picked this one. And then I'm just going to put some hot glue on it, a generous amount, and I'm going to put it right on the little bunny's face. I'm only going to do one side of this bunny. I'm going to take this orange burlap from the Dollar Tree and kind of just keep folding it until I make like what looks like a carrot shape. And then I'm going to trim it when I'm done and make it really look like more of a carrot shape. Then I'm going to take this green twine that I have. I think it's from the Dollar Tree. I'm not actually sure. And I'm going to wrap it around my finger several times and cut one side open and then glue the other side kind of to itself. And that will make the greenery that comes out of the carrot. I'm going to do the same thing with a little bit of jute twine because I want it to be kind of a combination of the green and the tan kind of jute color. And see how it's looking like a carrot now. And this is, I'm not going to do it as much with the jute. I just want to add a little accent in there. And I'm gluing them together. And then I'm going to put a little hot glue on the back of the carrot, attach the greenery, and then I cut a little triangle to cover that up, put that right on there. And then I'm just going to trim the carrot till it's the size that I want. I'm going to make 3 carrots. They came out really cute and they were super easy to make. And I'm just going to test it out and see how it fits in the pocket. And there they are. Now I'm going to take this mop head, and it's like 4 strands in one, and I'm going to separate them, wrap around my finger. I'm going to make not a full pom-pom, but kind of like a partial pom-pom. So otherwise I would have made it way thicker if it was a full pom-pom. But after I wrap it around a ton of times, keep adding more pieces, I just put one string in the middle and then tie it around one little end. Then I trim that piece and I just start trimming the little pom-pom, like giving it a haircut. This is going to be my bunny tail. And I thought that was so cute. I'm going to cut out a little like triangle of the back end of the bunny where you would have it, and there's a little hole there now, and I'm just going to kind of shove the bunny tail in there and glue it, and that worked perfectly. And now there are the carrots. I just love this little bunny. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comments, and I really hope you guys like it too. I'm going to use a sock and a piece of a sock, and I wish I had tube socks. It would have been so much better. Then I'm going to use some burnt umber paint by Apple Barrel and the Fawn Waverly chalk paint. I'm going to mix those two together, take a baby wipe and rub it all over the socks because I really want it to look kind of like a worn out rag. And I didn't want to use the drop cloth because then I would have to deal with all the ends, but as a sock it's already solid. And I'm just pouring some rice in there. I'm just using a little bucket and rolling the top over to make it easier. When I get the first section the way I want it, I'm going to tie some twine around it, twice and make it really secure, and then cut off the ends. Then I'm going to add some more rice. Again, if I'd had a tube sock, what's going to happen next would have been so much better. So see that little teeny piece that was left? I needed more. So I had to add another piece of sock, kind of tie it on, and then cut it down the middle to make bunny ears. So imagine if it had been a tube sock. You would have had the ears built in already, and this would have been a much easier process. So if you make this, definitely use a tube sock, okay? I didn't have one. It didn't occur to me till I was already this far. Anyway, so now I'm cutting the ears, and you see I've got that big bunch in the middle there. I'm going to have to deal with that later, but I will. I'm going to trim them so they'll be kind of thinner, and then what I'm going to do is fold over as much as I can and hot glue kind of pieces down to cover where that extra piece was attached so you won't see it. And then I'm kind of putting a little bit of hot glue between the ears to hold them together. I'm going to add a couple of buttons from the Dollar Tree to the center for his little bunny outfit. Then I've got this like poly rope from the Dollar Tree in the automotive section. It's red, and I'm just going to kind of wrap it around itself and cut it and hot glue it and make a little nose. Then I'm going to take some twine, and I'm just literally going to add like 3 whiskers on each side. Just hot glue that right down. Then I'm going to take some scrap drop cloth that I had, and I'm going to make a little pocket. And I'm going to hot glue the pocket right onto the side of my little sock bunny. And there's my pocket once I get the last side attached. Obviously you can sew these kind of things if you want, but this is just so easy to do with hot glue. It's not like it's gonna carry anything heavy. I'm using a jot marker, and I am making the little bunny mouth, and it doesn't go on as nice as I want. And I'm gonna also make the bunny eyes. So I end up taking a little bit of black apple barrel paint and filling in with a very fine art brush. And then I'm gonna use a little bit of white apple barrel paint and make the little part of the eyeballs. Just kind of dab it on there. And then I've got a little piece of sock that was left over, and I kind of cut it into a triangle, and I'm just gonna roll it onto itself and hot glue it and make a carrot shape. And then I've got some orange yarn from the Dollar Tree. I'm just gonna wrap it around, hot gluing it as I go, and then wrap it up around the top to cover all of the sock. And once I have that all glued down, I'm going to take some of the green twine that I have, and I'm going to wrap that around my fingers many times. Doesn't matter, it's up to you how much greenery you want. I'm just going to cut one end, hot glue the other end to itself, and then hot glue it directly to the top of the carrot, and that makes its little greenery. And I really like how this carrot turned out. Then I've got some buffalo check ribbon. I'm going to make it a little awareness type ribbon, and then I'm just going to hot glue it in the center so it'll stay in place. And then I'm going to take another little piece of plaid black and white ribbon. I'm just going to hot glue that around the center, give it a cute little centerpiece. And now I got to deal with that top of the bunny. So I'm going to start rolling it up and create kind of like seams. And I'm just hot gluing as I go. And now you won't see so much. I mean, you see it, but the bow's going to cover it pretty well. And that's the best I could do. Like I said, you really need a tube sock for this one. I still think it came out so cute, and I really love it. I would love to hear what you think about this one down in the comments. The Dollar Tree, actually 2 of them. One has the metal bunny on it, which I need the bunny, but right now I don't need the sign, so I'll put that aside and I'll take the bunny for this particular DIY. And then that little welcome sign I'm going to use, I'm going to take off the plastic, paint the inside with a white acrylic paint because I want to get some pretty good coverage. You may wonder why I didn't use any painter's tape on this. I'm wondering that too now that I'm watching it back. I was trying to be careful, but I'm not very careful. So I did get paint on stuff, and now I'm putting celery. It's a chalk paint color from Waverly over the top, and I really love that. And that becomes like the second coat that really covers the words. And then I thought, now I'm going to see how the bunny's going to fit on there, and I realized I probably need to paint that little frame white. Well, I took out my Arteza paint markers, and I did that, but it shows the little marks like where you write. So I thought, okay, I'll just make that my base coat, and then I'll go get my white paint out again, and I'll touch that up. So I'm just using the pen to get the edges too, because that is a little easier than a brush. And now I'm going to go ahead and cover it so it looks really good. I feel like I did a lot of things on this one that took longer than they should have. Do you guys ever do that? I mean, just you think, oh, I'm going to do this and that, and then you make it so much worse by the choices that you make. Anyway, maybe it's just me, but that's what I did on this one. It should have gone way faster. So don't do what I did. Just paint it white to begin with, or put tape on it. See how I just got white on the green? Oh my gosh, Lisa, you need to use tape. It does turn out really cute, and I'm really happy with it overall. Again, tape would have been super nice. And I have some, so there's really no good excuse. Now that I have this all painted, I'm going to attach the bunny with some hot glue right over the top. And I just think it turns out super cute. So after all that, I still really love it. I hope you do too. Conversation bubble signs that Dollar Tree has, and I'm just going to draw a little line and use my blade utility knife, I guess, and I'm going to get rid of the little point at the bottom. I want it to look like the body of an Easter bunny. This one is going to be a cute bunny one. And then I also have this other sign from Dollar Tree that had different shapes on it. It had Easter eggs and different things, and I turned one of them into a head for the bunny, and I just took the whole thing apart. And then I also have that headband with the bunny ears, and I'm going to use that as well. So I'm hot gluing the two pieces together. I'm going to paint it with the Waverly chalk paint in plaster. I'm going to do 2 coats to cover it completely. I found a little bunny face online, and so just looking at my phone, and I'm freehanding the eyes and the mouth and the nose. And once I do that, I'm going to take my Arteza black paint marker, and I'm going to go ahead and draw in the eyes. And so, or actually the eye, I only have one because it's a side view. It was so easy, and it actually looks really cute. So don't be intimidated by trying to do something like this. It's actually not that hard. Dollar Tree sells these little tools, the one I'm holding. I think they're for scoring, but I use them for very precise painting like this because it's like a little point, but it's round, you know, like a ball tip. And so it works really well if you can find them in the Crafter Square section. I was so excited. I finally found the color ballet slipper from the Waverly chalk paint at Walmart. I've been looking for it for a long time. So I'm doing the nose with that color. It's so cute. And then I'm going to touch up where I went over the line a little bit. And afterwards, I'm going to use ballet slipper again to make the cute little rosy cheeks. I'm also going to use ballet slipper like dry brushing around the edges of the bunny because I just wanted a little bit of pink in there, and I just love the way it looked. Now I'm going to attach the little bunny ears. I'm going to stretch it out a bit, and then I'm going to hot glue it directly onto the head. And it looks so cute, you guys. Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm going to use one of these microfiber dust pads from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut out a little circle and make a fuzzy tail for the bunny. And that was just perfect. I'm also going to use this gray and white mop head, and I'm going to start creating a circle with them, kind of like, you know, attaching them around the sides of itself. And I'm going to use hot glue, and those will be the 2 little feet that you see on the one side. And I'm just looking for some different textures, and I actually really liked the way that came out. It was super easy, and I had lots of extra ones. I have one of those little baby carrots from the Dollar Tree, and I just put it there like he was holding it. And now I'm going to take some floral pics from Dollar Tree, just really vibrant, beautiful colors, and I'm going to cut off the little pieces, and I'm going to create a little bouquet that I'm going to wrap in some ribbon that I got, I believe at Walmart. Really pretty burlap ribbon with lace on it. And I'm just going to hot glue that directly to the center of the bunny. I'm going to get some jute twine, and I'm going to make a cute little bow, the kind where you just wrap it around your fingers a bunch of times, tie the center, and then snip the loops. I'm also going to fill in the little hole above the eye with some hot glue and then paint it with the plaster. Super easy, you guys. I mean, seriously, this was such an easy one, and it came out so cute, so festive. I'm just so happy with how it turned out. You'll have to tell me what you think. I really love it. super fun festive Easter craft. I found this sign at the Dollar Tree with all the little eggs and a bunny and a chick on it. And I'm going to use the eggs and the bunny. I'm just going to rip the pieces apart. It came apart super easy. And I also found this pretty basket at the Dollar Tree. And then I've got these big round kind of, I don't know what you call those florals, but they're huge. And I cut 3 of them and just set them in the basket. Didn't even need foam or anything. They fit in there perfectly. I'm just arranging the leaves. And then I'm going to leave all of these eggs just as they are because they're super cute. And I just think there's no reason to change them. And I'm going to hot glue them to the front and position them kind of into a fun little design. And this is so easy, you guys. This one, you don't have to do any special techniques, no painting, yay. No mess to clean up, just hot glue, and that's it. You guys, Easter is such a special time of the year. It's a time for us to remember that the Savior is there for us, that He came back and that He rose again. And oh my gosh, there's so much hope in that, so much eternal hope. And I just pray that every one of you fully receives the gift that He has given you. Because of the way that I hot glued the eggs on, there was a little gap between 2 of them. So I just took a little piece of a shim and put it in between, and that will keep that nice and solid. And that way, you know, I won't accidentally break it if I move it around. I'm going to add the little bunny just behind the very top of the egg, so he's just kind of peeking out. And I just think it's so cute. I mean, I could have painted it and done stuff to it, but I think it was cute the way it was. And I have this little heart tag that's like a little chalkboard surface, and I'm using one of my Arteza paint markers, and I'm just writing Happy Easter. Not super fancy, just, you know, regular capital letters. And I'm going to put a really pretty little turquoise piece of ribbon in there and hang it on the bunny. I'm just going to add a little teeny bit of hot glue to keep the heart where I want it to sit, and that'll just hold it nice and secure. I have this green twine, and I honestly can't remember if it's from Dollar Tree or Walmart, but it's one of those 2. And I'm literally just going to wrap it around 2 fingers and make one of those little simple bows where you tie off the middle. This one I'm not going to cut open the loops though. I think it looks really cute. It's almost going to look like the bunny has a bow tie. This was such a fun and easy little centerpiece to make, just to have a nice festive Easter table. Let me know what you think in the comments.